never been in the South,
Mm.
never been away from home. Other part was immature part of me was like, yo, I need to be back in a more comfortable environment. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, I'm gonna slap the living candy canes out of him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, building champions for life. Boy, I got my frat brother Robert here. This story is unbelievable. I'm not even going to give you any pretense. When you get done with this one, man, I promise you, you're going to be shaking your head like, oh my God, this is the wildest and best thing I've ever heard, man.
Do you want this? We're going to offer you a full ride Army ROTC scholarship, officer. Do you want it or not? My mom didn't want me to go to Howard. She preferred me to go to Maryland. And she was sitting right there in front of me, giving me that look like, don't you say yes. And I said, no, thank you. I won't take it.
Yeah. I'm going to tell y'all, you need to stay on and listen to this video because you're not going to believe where it goes. Saying, you know what, I'm going to go be a doctor. And the thing I tell parents is the worst thing you can do is go against what your kid wants to do. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, you got a lot of parents out there helicoptering their kids into the service academies, right? Mm-hmm. Bad. Mm-hmm. But I had one like 6 years ago. I had to flat out tell him, man, listen, you're going to get your kid to do self-harm if you continue to push on him to go to one of these service academies. We talk about excellence in America. We talk about building champions for life. I have heard and I have witnessed and I have helped thousands of people overcome massive adversity. Shout out to Aaron Garcia, who just is reported to his squadron today to fly C-17s after living in a car for 3 years. And I don't know if anybody can run with Rob here. This is crazy, man. Rob, thank you for coming on, man. I appreciate you coming on, Q.
Thanks, team. Nice to be here. Hope I can help somebody, pass on uplift some wisdom. We roll up in the Marine Recruiter. Next thing you know, we got contracts to go to Marine Corps boot camp under the buddy program. Go to MEPS. Bam, bam, bam. This cat say, fuck, I ain't going. Recruiter leaves him at MEPS. Find your old way home from Baltimore. I ship out. He done left me behind. And I'm like, this is 1988, and I'm a sophomore.
Oh my God, Rob.
And I did that. Me and the moms was.
So let's just start at the beginning, man. Yeah. Where'd you grow up?
So yeah, I grew up in Washington, D.C., Northeast D.C. Like I said, back in the 80s, graduated high school in 86. I went to public school in D.C. for a while, and then one of my mom's teachers said he got something in him. Don't let him go to don't let him go to junior high school. Take him out of school and put him in like private school. So my mom she's a government employee, worked for the Department of Health. And so she said, okay, cool. And so she scraped whatever she needed to do. I mean, we're middle class for the most part. St. Anthony's Junior High School for my 7th and 8th grade. And at that point, I got into the academics, and kind of building my mind and stuff like that. And it was probably the best thing that saved me because all the cats that was around me, all the dudes, they was like in the streets, they was hanging out, they was doing dumb stuff. And so a lot of them, out of my neighborhood, and my neighborhood wasn't like super bad, but the hood was right down the street, if you want to call it that way. Out of my 3 best friends, we all live within about 10 block radius. I am the most successful. I'm the only one that got a college degree, happily married 25 years, right now 24 years. She's going to get mad at me, whatever. But it kind of focused me a little bit and kept me out of bad pathways and kept me out of, because in DC at that time, you're talking the crack academic and stuff. There's so many ways you can go wrong, so many missteps. And so it kept me out of that. So I went from there.
How big a disciplinarian was your mom? Was your mom cracking a whip, or were you one of those like internally motivated kids that you just wanted to go like I loved learning when I was in middle school, man, but I still I'm the opposite. I got in every ounce of trouble I could have gotten in as a human being.
So I have an older sister that's 15 years older than me. So I grew up by myself for the most part. So it was just me and my, people at school, my best friends. So my parents got divorced, ended up when I was in high school, like my senior year. So my mom was the primary person I looked to for structure, because my dad, to be honest, he was kind of out there doing his own shit. You know what I'm saying? He was around, so I saw him.
Yeah.
He gave me allowance and stuff. He used to call me a loan shark. He'd come there and borrow money from me. He'd say, I need $20. I was like, okay, cool, dog. But, I need 50 back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because you borrowed money from me as a kid, so that was my way of making money. And he had me go out and work projects with him, because sometimes he would do catering and stuff. So he had me go out there, set up catering stuff, lifting stuff, moving stuff around, helping him set up for catering parties and stuff like that. So between that And other than that, but my mom was the one that really I credit her to this day for, I would not be where I was without her, because she gave me structure and was like, you can do anything you want to, you know what I'm saying? She was cool in that. Some parents are like, just excuse my language, they just beat your ass all the time or just bust your ass. My mom was like, look, as long as you doing what you're supposed to do, I'm gonna give you some latitude. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was one of the kids that didn't have to, I come home from school, like everybody else had to do their homework. My mom was like, didn't make me do that, but I get to go out and play. I play football. We gotta play football in the streets all the time. Whatever we're doing, basketball, whatever sport, some physical activity outside. And she let me go and do that. Because because she knew I come home and I get my homework done, and I would just sit there, get my work done, and I had the discipline, the self-discipline. That's one thing I learned really early from her, is like self-discipline. And I had this phrase I've carried all the way through my life, even through college, high school, everything. It was Nike. You don't gotta like it. Nike had that little swoop, just do it. You don't gotta like it, you just gotta do it.
Like, was it gritty? Were you fighting in Northeast D.C.? Like, I know them 80s. Them 80s was rough up there.
If you went the wrong place, like 10 blocks up the street was a straight up hood. So if you go up there, you get jumped if you weren't from that spot, right? In high school, when you go to Catholic school, you ain't jumping. Moms is paying that bill, right? So you ain't doing too much jumping and fighting and stuff, because you get kicked out of school. She done lost, a couple $1,000.
Where'd you go to high school?
I went to high school. So after I finished St. Anthony's, my mom took me and sent me to DeMatha Catholic High School. Yep.
My man Josh Wilson out of DeMatha.
Yep.
Played corner. Played in the NFL.
I was there with Morgan Wooten was a coach for the basketball team. Danny Ferry sat right behind me in algebra class, and stuff like that. A lot of dudes, basketball, football dudes there. So after junior high, she sent me to DeMatha. And in DeMatha, academically, I was cool. I was the type of dude, right? I was hanging, and not that many black kids either. It's like DeMatha got pretty good, amount of black kids there too. I hang out with my boys, but I was the type that I hang out with my boys, but I knew when not to hang out with my boys, right? So I be out with you. I ain't gonna judge you. You cool, we cool. But I gotta go, and then they get detention like 5 minutes after I leave, because they was about to go do some dumbness. They weren't doing what they supposed to, whatever. Yeah. So I was like, my boys were cool. They were like, yo, he cool. He don't look down upon us. He don't like we nothing different. So I went to DeMatha, played football for a little bit while I was there. I was short. I wish I had the physique I had right now when I was in high school. I'm 5'8", now about 210 pounds. High school, I was like 135, 140. You know what I'm saying? 5'7".
I was 5'7", 122.
Oh.
Freshman and sophomore. Freshman year, I was 141, but I'm with you, brother. Like, if I had came out of high school at 210, I might have been unstoppable.
Yeah.
So,
and my boy got me, George, he said, yo, come off for JV football. So I went out for JV football, made the team, played cornerback. Because I was small, but I was like the fastest person on the team almost, And so I did cornerback, special, team stuff like that, because I wanted to be receiver, but that's when them big receivers start coming out like Shannon Sharp size, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And trying to.
And you was at DeMatha. They got some 6'5" cats coming out of basketball to go make that real money in the NFL.
Yeah, and tight ends and stuff. So I was like, I could do a punt return. I was small. The joke used to be I was small enough and fast enough that I was probably faster than 90% of the dudes out on the field. So if I got on a corner, I could outrun you because you couldn't catch me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or if I got through into a pile, I got lost. Where'd he go? Where'd that small little cat go? And I squirt off to the side somewhere. So like that. But then it got to be, varsity, I was like, these guys are getting too big. I'm gonna get broke up, And I was actually at that point, I started doing more academic stuff. So that was cool.
What were some of the academic things that you were involved in high school?
I did AP history.
Okay.
I did calculus as a freshman. I did algebra as a freshman. By sophomore year, I done pre-calculus. By junior year, I done calculus, computer science. I was an AB student. I got a 3.6, 3.4, made the dean's list most of the time. I made the honor roll, National Honor Society. So that helped me good because I got a scholarship out of there, a full academic scholarship to go to Auburn University.
Okay, so you came out of DeMatha, got a full scholarship. Let's talk about that process a little bit. So we help a lot of dudes transition from high school to college. Mm-hmm. How did you go about finding that scholarship? Kind of walk me through that process, because it don't happen you at DeMatha, so someone at DeMatha might have made a phone call and got you a place to go to college, right? Like, I know how powerful DeMatha is in DC.
Yeah, actually, the biggest part was me on a side, because I had the grades and I had the GPA, right? So I've been preparing myself. So it started back, I would say, and I would go back a little bit. It started back when I was in junior high school. I used to go to the library and I started getting books. and I read books. My mom would encourage that. And so I just read books. Like I was reading diction. I was reading encyclopedia. You know, them encyclopedias, them Britannica, whatever it was, World Book.
Yep.
I had old World books in the house, and sometimes, and I just go pick up the volume and start looking through it, and whatever caught my attention, I read it. You know, just kind of, and I've always been like that. You know, whatever, I like to bring a lot of information into my mind, so to speak, you know, because that's how you learn. That's how you learn different perspectives and things like that. So I used to read a lot, and I used to read encyclopedias, so that school wasn't that hard for me per se, you know, from the, you know, getting the grades. You know, some stuff was hard. You had to study for some stuff, but the school part wasn't hard in high school. So I had the grades. And my mom worked, because she worked basically for Department of Health and Human Services for Division of Disadvantaged Assistance. And so what she did, she went out to a lot of the schools for health stuff to try to get more people, you know, slots for like doctors, especially medicine, nursing, PAs, and stuff like that. So she knew where all the schools were, and her area was a lot of schools in the Southeast. So she had people at Alabama, UAB, at Auburn, and stuff like that. So I wanted to go to California. I wanted to go to UCLA because I had cousins in the UCLA.
Okay.
So I wanted to go to California because I wanted to get away from home.
Okay.
My mom was like, nah, you know, that's cool, but nah. And so when it came down to the crazy part about it, I'm going to tell, the crazy part. I'm at home. I think I'm a senior. I go on for Army ROTC. And I also wanted to go, I also wanted to go to the academy. I was really interested in academies at that point. My best friend, he's still my brother. He's like my brother to me, a guy named Andre. He went to St. John Military Academy up in Northwest. My other play brother got kicked out of DeMatha, and he went there too. And I wanted to go to St. John's. I was like, I'm gonna go to St. John's. I'm gonna go to military academy, stuff like Valley Forge, the Citadel, and all that stuff. So when I was coming out of DeMatha, I was like looking at getting an appointment I was like, I'm gonna go to academy. I'm gonna go to Naval Academy. I'm gonna go to West Point. I didn't know how to do it. I didn't have the connections for it. Which now I had the grades, but I didn't.
So you know what's interesting, Rob? If you had driven down there in the 80s and just walked into admissions and brought your transcript, they probably would have let you in.
I didn't know. The only thing I knew was you needed an appointment. And DC, I was a DC relative, you know, state of DC. I'm born and raised in DC, so I was a DC resident, and we don't have representation. And, you know, we don't like have 2 senators or 2 congressmen. It was like, who do you go to? And why they going to pick you when they got, because, you know, in DC, you got some of the other schools in the Northwest, you know, near Georgetown. Like, why they going to pick me? You know, the black kid from Northeast, you know, I go to DeMatha. That's a step up, but I just didn't know. I had no clue. And so I looked at it.
Here's the beauty of it, Rob. This is why we doing this, right? Like someone's going to listen to this and they're going to say, hey, man, I don't know how to get into the Naval Academy. I really want to go. Some kid from Southeast D.C., Watts, Compton, right? I'm going to tell all of you guys, just reach out, man. Send me an email. Get in our Discord. We're going to show you how to get it. We got a blueprint for everything you want to do in life. And if we don't have a blueprint, I guarantee you in 5 minutes, I'll find somebody that does have it. But getting into the service academies, dude, I'm going to tell you this. Here's the numbers this year, bro. We got 8 dudes at West Point. Wow. Between prep school and freshmen, we got 8 people, okay? We got 6 now at the Naval Academy. We had 7. Some dude decided to quit on his second day. Only the second dude that's quit in 25 years, okay? We got 2 kids at Air Force Academy this year, which is normally we don't have a lot of kids going to Air Force, but we got 2 kids at Air Force this year. So I encourage everybody listening to this video, if you're trying to go to a service academy, reach out, get in our Discord. Bro, we're gonna help you not be us in the 80s. And that's the whole goal.
And that's the crazy part, because like I didn't have the internet. You know, you had to go know somebody, talk to somebody. It wasn't like I could pick up my phone, right? Pick up my phone like now, just find out the information. You had to read a book, call somebody, like you said, walk in somebody's door, or run across somebody. And then where I came from, nobody. I was the only one in my class in high school doing this. Out of my class, I think 3 dudes joined the military. One of my boys joined the Marine Corps right after high school. Another dude went to Coast Guard. And I was like, I want to go in the academy, but I can't figure out how to get in the academy and stuff like that. I have the grades, but I was like this. And I think I talked to one person. He was like, nah, you didn't play varsity. You didn't have a sport. So I ran cross country. And so I was used to running cross country. I played some JV ball, but I didn't have a varsity sport. They're like, the only going to take you is if you got a varsity sports. I was discouraged. And so my mom, I was trying to figure out what to do. And then I still remember I went to Howard University because they had ROTC scholarships, Army ROTC scholarships, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And I went up there. They gave me a tour of the campus. And this was actually after my first year at Auburn. So I'll pull
Okay.
back. So my mom comes in, fill up the scholarship for Auburn. They look at my grades. Bam, full ride academic, computer engineer.
Let's go. Let's go.
I go down.
Okay.
Never been in the South.
Mm.
Never been away from home.
Mm.
And I was a young cat. I was 18-year-old freshman. Because I
Okay.
early. Everybody else 18, 19. So I was always a little bit early. Didn't drink, didn't smoke.
Yep.
Didn't do any drugs, nothing like that. Got down to Auburn, first semester.
And wait a minute now. Rob, Auburn was really white in the 80s.
Yes.
Really white.
Yeah.
We talking about like a South Carolina white.
Yeah.
Like there's some schools down south where the only black people are the ones playing sports.
Right. And when I got down there, the Alphas ran the yard. There was the Qs. There was 2 Qs and they were kicked off the yard, through to the Brus. And I got down there and I started, it was an alien environment for me. And I was still a little young and immature.
Did your mom send you anywhere in the summer? So like my mom would send me, I'd be at wrestling camp for 2 months in the summer. Like I was gone away from home a lot. Mm-hmm. Starting really 7th grade, man. 7th grade, I was gone at football camp or wrestling camp,
I worked. So DC had a jobs program, every summer jobs program. So starting my freshman year, every summer, I applied for the jobs program and I caught the bus wherever they assigned you, and that's how I got my money for the whatever. So I had to go work, I didn't sit around.
Gotcha.
So I worked
no.
every summer. And then my senior year, I got a job working at a food store as a pharmacy clerk and a loading dock guy. So I was unloading the trucks in the back when they came in the tractor trailers. I'd unload the trucks, stock the shelves, carry stuff around, stock the pharmacy, make sure the pharmacy was stocked. So I did that in between there until I left to go to Auburn. And when I went to Auburn, dog, she drove me down in the car, put me up in the dorm, then she got in the car and drove off, left me. I had no car, helping, man, just there on my own,
Yep.
And what we used to do, we go to Tuskegee to party or to see other black folks. We go down to Tuskegee to be more comfortable and be around a whole bunch of folks. So that's what we did all the time.
Hey, Rob, let me tell you, I got one of my young bucks got a son at Tuskegee right now from LA, right? But I'm gonna tell you, I was in jump school and the Alpha grabbed me. And the Alpha's like, look, you want to be a bro? We going to Tuskegee tonight, hang out with the Alphas. I'm like, shit, let's roll. I didn't really know a lot about Greek stuff. Man, we got over there. I knew about Howard, right? We got over there, man, that down south. Oh my God. There's some things that you look at in life and you like, yeah, this would have been a different experience for college, right?
Yep. So I went to Tuskegee, first year Auburn, and my academic discipline went to hell. I learned how to go to...
What was causing the academic discipline problems? Like I want to get into the minutia.
The biggest thing started, I didn't drink before I got down to Tuskegee. Homecoming, they introduced me to Hunch Punch. I drank, go up, like wake up in the morning, like hang over, like what the hell? Like that.
Yeah.
And the other part was I was a computer science major, but I didn't, and I was good at it in high school, but I realized it was not something I wanted to do for the rest of my life. It's not something I really wanted to do. I shouldn't have majored in that. So, and I learned from that. I learned introspection. I mean, that's one thing I used to, when I mentor folks, I say, you got to know who you are and be honest with yourself, right? You ain't know what you're good at, know what you're not good at. Because there's some things that ain't for you. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And some of those lessons you got to learn the hard way, but you got to be brutally honest and know what you could do. There's some things you set up for either physically, mentally, or wherever you're from. And if you ignore those rules, then sometimes you will pay for them. And that payment might be a failure, but if you manage it right, it'll lead you something else better. I had 2.0, 2.1. I'm talking about 3.6, 3.5 GPA in high school. I got 2.1. I'm getting D's in algebra class that I've already had before. Not algebra, excuse me, calculus. I already had calculus. I'm getting a D in the class because I got a TA that's Polish. I can't understand this dude. I'm like, what the fuck is he talking about?
I had a Chinese computer science teacher at the Naval Academy. I almost bombed that class because I couldn't understand a word he was saying. So I'm gonna have to step back and say, bro, I understand you on that one, man. You can't understand what the teacher's saying. It's hard to learn.
And I didn't know how to get around that. I mean, how to set my schedule up. I didn't have really a mentor, an advisor that was setting me up saying, don't take this class, or even to say, maybe you might want to change your major. So I sat there in computer science for a year, academically, with a 2.0, 2.2 until I decided I wanted to transfer back home. And that was like because one, my parents were gonna get divorced. Wow, my mom needed my help, stuff like that. I need to be back home. And then the other part was immature part of me was like, yo, I need to be back in a more comfortable environment. You know what I'm saying? So I'm
Okay.
gonna go back
Yep.
home. I'm gonna go to Howard. I'm gonna go to DC, right?
Okay.
Now,
Okay.
at the same time, the only thing that I did get into that I really liked, I got the Navy ROTC for a year. So I was a
At
midshipman
Auburn.
at Auburn. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yep. I was a midshipman for a year at Auburn Naval ROTC Marine Option. I loved it. I was hanging out doing
Okay.
that stuff. Loved that. So I said, I'm coming home. My mom's like, cool. I come home, choices in DC, George Washington, Maryland, Howard. You know, those are the ones that really counted for me. At least I was considering. In Georgetown. Couldn't get into Georgetown. I had an interview at Howard Army ROTC.
Okay.
Went up there, did the campus tour. It's lovely. Women everywhere. I think the male to female ratio is like 20-1. You know what I'm saying? 25
like
to 1.
13-1 with some of the country's baddest black women in the world.
Educated,
yes,
lovely.
Sir.
You know, I ain't players, I ain't Greek or nothing like that. And I still remember to this day, the dude said, I met the commandant, the colonel. He said, we got extra slots. We got the money. We're going to call you tonight. Let us know your answer. Phone rings. We in the kitchen. I go get the phone in the kitchen. The communal phone hang on the wall, the big one. I'm talking.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, we want to know. Do you want this? We're going to offer you a full ride Army ROTC scholarship. Officer, do you want it or not? My mom didn't want me to go to Howard. She preferred me to go to Maryland. And she was sitting right there in front of me, giving me that look like, don't you say yes. And I said, no, thank you. I won't take it. I've been blessed with a lot of opportunities. You know what I'm saying? You see my resume.
Yep. Yeah. We're gonna talk. Hey, Doc, listen, this is redemption art. We going from the basement all the way to some place because they ain't gonna believe it. I'm gonna tell y'all, you need to stay on and listen to this video because you're not gonna believe where it goes. You're not gonna believe it.
Because that was shot too. Remember, I was Navy midshipman.
I talk to parents all the time. Okay. Mm-hmm. And the thing I tell parents is the worst thing you can do is go against what your kid wants to do. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, you got a lot of parents out there helicoptering their kids into the service academies, right? Mm-hmm. Bad. Mm-hmm. But I had one like 6 years ago. I had to flat out tell him, man, listen, you're going to get your kid to do self-harm if you continue to push on him to go to one of these service academies. He ain't made for the service academy. He don't want to go to the service academy. So I want to talk about this a little bit because I want people on here to understand there are times in your life when you got to look at your parents and say, I understand what you're saying, but this is what I want to do. Yep. Okay. And I tell people, the older you get, the more responsibility you get for your own life. Right. And to me, it's like, God, dog, if I had got my hands on you, bro, man, if I got my hands on you, because the whole thing is there is a lot of people in America that don't have the direction. They don't know how to get there. They got, you got a kid down south, 1400 SAT score, 4.0 GPA. Now, today with ChatGPT, it's a little bit easier. But back in the day, we didn't have none of that stuff, right? And so you're saying. So let me ask you this, man. One of the things I preach to this generation, because they really bad about making decisions, is take the bird in the hand if you ain't got nothing. Take it. Don't be looking over there like I could. So I got a young lady right now that could maybe possibly go to Naval Academy, but she about to get West Point. I told her we taking it. As soon as it comes, we taking it. I know it ain't your number one school, but we taking it. You don't have a lot of options. You know what I'm saying? So back then, did you at all think about bucking mom?
Yes, I did. Like I said, my mom was strong-willed. I still remember getting cursed out by my mom because I got an F in French. I'm in the driveway and she's screaming at me about an F is deplorable. You know what I'm saying? And I'd had 3-4 years of French in high school, and it was just an exam, and I was lazy. I messed up, and she's like, F is deplorable. So my mom's, and she done all the effort to get me into Auburn, and the scholarship, those are her peoples and stuff. And I never wanted to disappoint my mom's. So at that time, when she's looking at me, I'm on the phone. The guy's like, and the guy told me, he said, this is a bullet. Once we fire this bullet, it's gone. Once we say yes, you in it. Come on down. We can't reverse this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And my mom was like, nah. With maturity and age, I should have said yes. I should have said, Mom, I'm going to Howard. My only concern with going to Howard was I was going to be at home, and that and that's also, I would say this too, that's also part of the immaturity part. that I've learned in self-reflection. I just got finished going to 4 years of all-boy high school, right? And I was like, I don't know if I want to be around just a whole bunch of, I don't know if I want to be restricted. I don't know if I want to be around all boys at that point. So that's part of what got me in trouble. But when I got to Auburn, I'm in a class with girls. I ain't never been in a class with girls for 4 years.
Yeah.
I'm distracted.
Yeah.
And that type of thing. So in hindsight, I should have took it. But I was also afraid that I'm gonna be up there going buck wild, because I can do what the hell I want to. I'm at home. I'm at DC again. I know everybody. I know where to go. I know where the party's at and all that kind of stuff. So yeah. So I mean that was another secondary fear. But I did think about it, and like I said, that was my second shot because I had just come off of being a midshipman for the first year, did good grades, and loved that shit as a ROTC. I was like, okay, I could do that for 2 years and then get, the scholarship for year 3 and year 4 if I stuck with it. And I wanted to fly too. I always wanted to fly,
Did you lose your scholarship at Auburn because you had a 2.0?
Yeah. It was getting close. That was another reason why to get out of there. Yeah. They were like, you got to bring your grades up. So because of that, I was on scholarship, but also because I wanted to transfer because most schools ain't going to take you with no low grades. So I got it up to like a 2.8, which was enough to transfer.
Okay. Solid. Okay. All right. So you tell my man ROTC at Howard, it may be one of the best schools. Doc, I'm going to tell you, if they made me the head football coach at Howard, I'm going to tell you, I might not ever lose a game. I told him, I interviewed in 2008 for a head coaching job there. I told him, I said, listen, man, you guys are not leveraging anything you have at Howard, and I guarantee you, I won't lose a game because I'm going to have the best talent in the country.
I can imagine that.
Yeah, because I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to go right down there to all the Greeks, and I'm going to tell them, listen, here's the deal. Every star is $5,000 for your university or sorority.
Okay.
So when I give you a recruit and that dude's a 4-star, you better do what you got to do because I'm going to give you a check for $20,000 on the back end, right? Like, dog, just make it easy, right? What do you think the Delta's going to do? They're going to hold some dude hostage, bro. That dude's going to be in love, indebted. Like, he's going to try to leave campus. He's going to go to some normal school and be like, nah, I ain't got it like I had down there.
I know.
So, okay.
And so for a perfect example, my segue. So my mom tell me what to do. Like I told you, my son, he's talking about, he got a degree, University of Hawaii, Bachelor's administration, trying to figure out what he wants to do. Job market, no matter what people are telling you, sucks if you come out of college right now. It's super rough. He's been working part-time jobs. He enlisted. He just sent me a text just now. He just got his job, and he just got a ship date to go to Air Force BMT. I was looking at the text just now. And so he's going to go into aviation resources management.
Okay.
And
so Rob,
going to ship in soon.
Watch this.
But I'm not going to tell him to do.
Watch this, Rob. Watch this. You're going to send me a text message with him on that text message. I'm going to talk to him tonight.
Okay.
I'm going to slap the living candy canes out of him. Okay. I'm going to send him a video, my nuclear mentorship video of the young man with a 3.8 GPA from Columbia University. Okay. Was going to enlist in the Army on the 18 X-ray contract and is now in Intel iBullock. He's in iBullock. Okay. I'm going to put the two of them on the phone and I'm going to talk to your son.
Okay.
Because I'm going to tell you, it's the biggest waste of resources when they tell me I'm going to enlist because everything they think is going to happen is not what's going to happen. You know it. You've been around the moon many a time, right? Like that's not how it's going to work. Yeah. So when we get off this call, I'm going to get him on the phone with my man Coltrane and we're going to get this straight. Because I'm going to tell you, I'll be damned if somebody I know got some kid fixing to go enlist talking about I'm gonna go be do this and that and don't have no idea what he did.
Yeah, the only thing about it, we got him on the only path about that I say before we break back off we talk about I got him set up to go select to Air Force Honor Guard for 3 years at Bowling, do the honor guard thing if he wants to.
Hey.
Yeah.
Don't give a shit. He got a degree, he gonna be right? Like, don't care, man. Smoke it, throw it out the window, it's gone. Yeah. Like, I don't like the plan, right? Yeah. Like, I do this every day. We made 100 officers last year. We made 100 Army officers last year. 100. They make 450 a year. 25% of the Army officer corps are my guys right now.
There you go.
And cats are like, I'm just telling you.
Yeah.
Like, okay, we'll get him straight. All right, so back to the craziness. So we ain't got no scholarship.
Don't got no scholarship. I'm back at home. I go to University of Maryland College Park.
How do you go there? You just paying?
My mom's paying for it. My mom's paying for it. I didn't go to George Washington University, and I'm looking who has ROTC. It's crazy because Maryland had Air Force ROTC. Navy ROTC at George Washington. I could have done George Washington, but I was like, I got to drive across town, so now I'm lazy.
Yep.
And I'm back
Yeah.
home.
That's a solid laziness in DC. Like driving across to George Washington is a long ass ways from Northeast, right? Like Maryland was what, 5 miles from your house?
About 10, because it's in Hyattsville, College Park, right across right across the line. But like, yeah, I live less than a mile from the border, the Maryland DC border. So it was down, Group 1, you in Maryland. So yeah, it was laziness. I had a car by then. My mom got me a car because I had to commute. I was living at home. And then that's where, like I said, immaturity, lack of guidance, not knowing what's going on. I know what I wanted to kind of do, but I didn't know how to get there. My best friend named Kev, he come to the spot, and Kev got all type of household problems with his moms like that. He like, let's go to Marine Recruiter. Bet. I'm with him. We roll up in the Marine Recruiter. Next thing you know, we got contracts to go to Marine Corps boot camp under the buddy program. Go to MEPS. Bam, bam, bam. This cat say, fuck, I ain't going. Recruiter leaves him at MEPS. Find your old way home from Baltimore. I ship out. He done left me behind. And I'm like, this is 1988, and I'm a sophomore.
Oh my God, Rob.
And I did that. Me and the moms I've been away from school. I've been away for a year. So I wasn't the same dude that been at home. I had, freedoms, liberties. I'd grown a bit, matured a bit. She got another attitude, she wouldn't let me I think it was rebellion. She wouldn't let me go, do the ROTC stuff at Howard. So I was like, I'll fix you. I think I was like that too. I think I said that shit. I'm gonna fix you. I done joined the Marine Corps. I'm gonna go join the Marine Corps. Hoorah.
Which, hey, Rob, which is one of the outcomes of fighting your kid on some shit that they want to go do. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, dog. Okay, so we done got out of Auburn. We done got out of Howard. I don't know how you did that, bro. I'm just gonna tell you right now. Like, if I had to do it over again, I might have went to Howard or Hampton. Either one of them schools. Hampton's a little bit snootier than Howard. But man, them two schools right there. Oh my God. Doc, I'll tell you this, coming off the West Coast, because you'll laugh at this. I thought an HBCU meant that they had like 10% black people at the university. That's what I thought it meant. I didn't realize it meant they were all black. Nope. The whole school. I mean, bro, I tell you, I sat on a park bench right next to the monument for 6 hours my sophomore year at the Naval Academy. I didn't know women like that existed, bro. I came out of Washington State. I didn't know. I was looking at the Cosby Show. So anyway, okay, so you get out of there, get rid of Howard. You start at Maryland. One day, some motherfucker just says, "Hey,
he's my best friend.
Let's go join the Marine Corps."
Dog, he's my best friend to this day. He's my brother. We're like the brothers from. I used to call his mom's mom. He used to call my mom. I walk up in his house. He walk up in my house.
Yeah.
And he said, nah. He was a hot-headed, little short dude. Mike Tyson did what he wanted to, didn't respect authority, fight with his dad. And my house was a refuge because we ain't do that in my house, And he said, let's go join. I was like, cool. It'd be good for you. I'm already there because I've already done ROTC. I'm already had this mind. At that point, I'm like, I'm gonna be in the military some point. I just don't know how or where. I think that it's me. It's kind of, sometimes you kind of know what your place is. You just don't know where. Oh, that's why we both joined, and we were supposed to go. He backed out at the MEPS, went home, never joined. He is 5 months older than me. I'm 56. He says to this day that fucked up his life, and his life would have been totally different if he'd have joined.
Because I want people to understand. A lot of people that come from bad to / lower middle class families don't understand the best thing you can do is get out of that environment. The military, the best thing about the military, they give you a place to stay, they give you food to eat.
And structure.
They give you a little bit of change for your pocket. Okay. It gives you structure and a stability that now you can see and learn from other people that you're not getting in Northeast D.C. Right? Like you're not. So like for your best friend to say that, like I tell people, man, the guys that left the Naval Academy, I don't know anybody that went on to be, I know one dude that went on to be really successful. Tommy Pritchard went on to be solidly successful, but he went to South Carolina on scholarship to play football. Everybody else, Marlon went to Florida State and played, but everybody else, man, we got some guys, they ain't doing so well, man. So I mean,
we could chat on it. I could tell you, I got 2 brothers both from the same way. Like I said, he didn't go, stayed in DC, kicked it around. To this day, I don't know if he's got a degree. He says he do, but I ain't never seen the paper. I can show you mine on the wall. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Yep.
Divorced once. Got kids. He love them, but when we talk, he like, man, it would have been for me. I would have loved the training. I would have loved the physicality because he was wrestler. I mean, he was a little short built, Mike Tyson fight and all that stuff. He was the one that protected me half the time because I was the shorter, light skinned, scrawny dude a little bit, And he says, man, if I'd have went, my life would have totally changed. I'd have had discipline, structure, money in my pockets. I'd have had some respect for authority. My credit score would have been good. I wouldn't have all these kids. I wouldn't have as many kids probably as I had. He said sometimes, because he got like 4 kids. I love him to death.
Yeah.
But 4 kids by 3 different women.
Hey, let me tell you, you know how this is, Rob. If you stay in that old environment, you're going to get the old environment, Happy Meal, bro. You get the Happy Meal. You get the, 4 kids, 3 different mamas, babies' mamas. You got child support. You got, you trying to figure out how to pay rent. They done garnished your wages. You done lost your car. Yeah. You riding the train. It
was hard. I mean, it was hard for him. He's like, I could tell it was hard for him. He works as a contractor now for the government and stuff like that. And so he's found his way in IT stuff. I still know that he's like, I didn't take the opportunity was there. I should have went with you. It was going to be what I needed. I had what I needed. And so I went, and he stayed at home. And so he's like, and then, and he's like my biggest supporter, Doug. I think in a way, sometimes he like, all through my military career, he living vicariously through me because I did what he didn't do.
Did you ever tell him to join? Did you ever go back and say, hey, man, get your butt in the Marine Corps? Like, let's go.
So what happened, and this is the crazy, so what happened to me, so yeah, I told him, dog, you made a mistake. You should have really, I've told him this for 30 years. You should have joined. You should have come back in. He didn't do it. Now, it's like 3 of us, like 3 amigos. Our other brother, he's like a year or 2 younger than us. He wanted to fly. He loved aviation like I do. But he was kind of like not motivated, didn't want us to do a lot of stuff, kind of play football, in high school and stuff like that, but didn't really want to do the other things that he needed to do. Even later on, when I'm now in the Air Force, my boy never joined. And I was in the Marine Corps. I go down Parris Island. I get halfway through training, and then they kick me out. They'll kick me out. They release me an MPQT because I had really bad shaving bumps at the time, and I was getting infected.
Okay.
And so they said, you got to go home. You can't shave. And I'm like, what you mean? I never had to shave. They sent me home. So now I'm back in Maryland.
Okay.
What do? I go back to my grades, practicing my degree. I'm a political science major at the time now, but international studies relations, doing well. Got 2.8, end up with from a 2.8 to like a 3.4, 3.6 GPA.
Okay.
I'm walking through the student union. Who do I walk past during my junior year? The OSO, Marine OSO. Fast forward, next thing you know, I'm with that program. I'm training with these cats. They got me running 3 miles, mile and a half, 3 miles. I think I was running 3 miles in under 19 minutes at the time because I ran cross country. And I'm doing that. And I still remember some of the cats that were really, really fast. Those are the cats that would be passing us at the halfway mark. You're at the halfway mark and he done turned around. He coming towards you. I'm like, damn, this dude running like 13, 14 minute 3 miles. I'm like, how the hell you do that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we had a Kenyan dude at the Naval Academy that was running that fast. It was crazy shit. I got lapped in a 3-lap mile and a half. I got lapped.
Oof.
Ran a 6-minute mile and a half.
So yeah, I started training to go to OCS a little bit. And what I would do, I just go run. I run like 3 days out of the week. I run 3 miles, and then on Fridays or like the 4th day, it would be just run till you drop dead. And I just would run like 3, 4, 5, 6 miles, wherever the road took me. I just keep running and shit. And I'm running through the streets of Northeast D.C. You know what I'm saying? I'm not in trails and stuff like that. So a little harder on my feet and my bones a little bit because I used to run trails and cross country like that. So I used to do that. And that was. Go ahead.
Are you still living at home right now?
I'm living at home.
Still living. Has mom let you kind of out of the nest a little bit, or is she still cracking whip about you coming in at 4 a.m?
I think the Marine Corps bit, me going to Quantico kind of cut her loose of that. She was like, "You making your decisions." She's like, "Okay," And then I'm like, I got the grades. I'm driving. She got me a job working in Rockville with her, kind of like in the same building as a clerk typist. So I got money in my pocket. I'm doing what happens in between that is I pledge in spring 90.
Let's go, Kai D. Let's go, dog.
I don't know what happened. I have no comments about that. I don't know what happened.
No comment. What year is this?
I was pledged in spring 90.
So 92 is when they got booted, correct?
Started 91, I heard, but.
Yeah. Like he wasn't there. Just so y'all know, like he wasn't there. All right, go
wasn't.
ahead.
I graduated in 91. So what happened was I pledged in 90.
Okay.
You know, crazy hazy KD. I had the experience of at least half of, boot camp, Quantico. So the bros was okay, bring it,
Well,
My line brothers used to hate me doing PT because they're like, dog, slow down. Because I'm running laps around the bros, laps around them. They're like, dog, what's wrong with this dude?
I pledged 4 months after I got out of SEAL training. So yes, I understand your dilemma.
Yeah.
So
okay, I pledged, and then I was like, this is, I need to get out of school. I need to finish this up. I talked to the OSO, boom, bam. I graduate in 91, December 91. I went to summer school so I could graduate. So I could hurry up and get out of there.
Go. Let's get out of there, Rob.
I was like, what we got to do academically? Let's do what we got to do to get this stuff together to graduate. I graduate, go to OSA, go to 149th Officer Candidate course. All 91, like right after 91, because I graduated in December. Yeah, that spring, that January. I went down there, Quantico, not that far from home.
And I figure you got the shaving down now. You using clippers?
Got the shaving
clippers
down.
Or magic shave?
Got clippers. Done heard about magic shave, which still doesn't. I got sensitive skin, so it doesn't work that well. But clippers was fine. Shavings down. Get to OCS down there, enjoying it. Obstacle course like that. Start having problems with hips, my hip flexors, and my knee, and one of my knees, my left knee, I think it was. And I did not know what was going on per se. Later on, I figured it out. Got rolled back. Sent me to Bethesda Naval, MRIs, all that kind of fun stuff. They're like, we think you might have tore your. I was at this. We think you might have tore your IT band or your hip and your hip flexors. And they're like, they're like, you used to run. I'm like, yeah, I used to run a lot. And they're like, well, we think maybe you might have had an injury that you didn't know about. That you never healed. Playing football and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, I ran. Didn't bother me then. They're like, well, this is a different type of running. How tall are you, Jake?
5'7".
Okay, you like me. So when we were humping, the short dude has to run the whole freaking time.
The whole way. You ain't gonna get away with walking with like the 6'2" dudes.
Yeah, the 6'2" dudes just walking, chilling. You were basically double time or basically running the whole time. You do 5 mile, 3 mile, 50, 60 pounds on your back. And it was killing me and it was exacerbating my injury. So they rolled me back to the 150th class. I came back. Went home, trained some more, came back. They were like, yo, boom. This time I tore my ligament. They did an MRI. Said you done torn your. I think it was my lateral collateral, my ACL. Not my ACL, my lateral collateral. They said I think you tore it. They then rolled you back again. We can't roll you back again. We're gonna put you in what they call like their version of like the medical kind of rehab stuff. Like So they sent me to Bethesda. Bethesda was treating me. They said you go home and rest, and we'll call you. And we for what's probably gonna do to you. So now I'm at home. My dream. I'm like I was gonna be a Marine officer. Of that is kind of in question. I'm like, what I'm supposed to do now? I'm tore up. My legs broke. It's tore up. I'm healing it, but are they gonna let me come back a third time? And
this is the 90s when that knee surgery was a death sentence.
Yes. And it was right after Desert Storm. It was like that Desert Storm time frame. So the Marine Corps, if you remember, they were doing the roll down stuff. They were like, they were shedding people. They're like, dude, if you ain't full up to go, we can't just we don't need you on active duty. So what they end up doing is they put me on IRR, an active ready reserve. They were like, you don't got to come do nothing. You don't got to go drill, nothing like that. You just on the IRR, some paperwork, and we'll talk to you later at some point in time.
Okay.
Oh, I re-enrolled in Maryland. I said, what I'm gonna do? I back enrolled in Maryland. And I spent enough time with kind of the docs. I rediscovered a part of me like, well, and it was crazy. It was like, I should be a doctor. I'm going to go to med school.
All right. Wait a minute now, dog. We went from fucking Marine Corps, OCS. Did you spent all this time in the hospital. You just said, you know what? That shit's pretty cool. I'm going to fucking go do that shit right there. Like where was the antithesis? I don't even know that's the right word. What's the antithesis of you saying, you know what, I'm gonna go be a doctor?
I was smart. My mom had exposed me to a lot of the stuff because that's what her job was, looking at programs that was trying to get folks in medical school that looked like me and folks that didn't look like me that normally wouldn't have a shot or didn't, you gotta understand, I can say this now, a lot of doctors beget doctors.
100%. Why do kids, doctors, become doctors and dentists?
Mom and dad.
Absolutely. Yep.
And so I looked at it and I was like, And like I said, I'm a politics science major from Maryland. I got a degree in political science and international relations. I was like, Marine Corps, military, that's great. Med schools, I'm like, that don't got nothing to do with med school. Then I started talking, investigating, and they were like, yeah, you can get into med school, you got to do post-bac. So they said, you got to go back. I had to go back to Maryland for 2 years and take all the science courses that I did not have, that all the pre-med folks had. So I had to take organic chemistry, physics, which would piss me off half the time, all the hard stuff, biology. I hadn't taken a biology class in college. I hadn't seen biology since high school. So I had to do all that stuff. So I went back to Maryland, enrolled, did that stuff as a post-bac, and started looking at med schools, talking to folks, and applying. I took the MCAT.
Okay, so hang on, Rob. So you went back to school for 2 years, heavy all the sciences, anatomy, physiology. Okay, so you go back for 2 years, you're on IRR, you're really not in the military, in the shadows. Okay, so then you remember what you got on the MCAT?
I don't remember, but what I remember was that my score, so when I started applying to medical schools, I didn't get as high as all the, the pre-med guys that have been doing it for 4 years. But I remember one of the guys that interviewed me, I interviewed for like 5 or 6 schools. And he said, you know why we're interviewing you? I was like, no, I mean, I applied. He said, no. He said, your scores on your MCAT for like the biology medicine stuff were extremely high. But when we looked at your transcript, you hadn't taken biology yet. The only thing you taken was, I had done like maybe the first semester of the prerequisites. Gotcha. And I took my MCAT, and they were like, okay, if you can score that high without having the rest of the stuff, we need to come talk to you. You need to come talk to us.
Gotcha.
So I was like, oh, okay, that's it. So now compared to what they got now, kids getting the MCATs, I know I'd have been like, they'd have been like, hey, go study some more.
Hey, Rob, we make a bunch of doctors, okay? I have 2 kids from Puerto Rico with 524s. I got 2 kids from Colorado with 523s, and then my dude Gary's sitting at 518. So
I was like a 4 something. I was in a 4 something, 484, something like that. Gotcha. I was like, it wasn't like the bottom. They were like, this is like an average belt, average, a little bit above average score. I remember that they were like, yo, and you ain't even because I'm a political science major. You don't need a science in your background. And so
let's go.
My mom helped me too. So what other happened is during that time period, she hooks me up with this program that Tulane has. And they had this program where you go down to Tulane for the summer. And it's a pre-med program. I think it's called Med Prep at the time. And you go down there, and it's run by Tulane Med School. And you go down there and spend the whole summer down in New Orleans. And you just get exposed to medicine stuff, pre-med stuff, medical school stuff.
How old were you at this point?
21, 22.
Were you done playing stupid games like alcohol, women?
I had a girlfriend at the time, and she actually was from Tulane. Her dad was a judge. So that was cool. So I was dating her kind of the whole time. Had pledged, I'm a bruh, I'm working, I'm going. At that time, I'm focused. I'm like, I need to go ahead and do my pre-med stuff. I need to get into med school. That's where I need to go. And I had this attitude, which my brother used to say, the one that didn't go to boot camp, didn't go to Marine, he said, you cold toward people, you cold toward women. And I was like, nah, dog. I was like, if you ain't helping, I would tell him, I said, the problem is, if you ain't helping, you drag. And what do we do with drag? We just jettison that shit. So I was like, if you got in the way, you weren't part of the program, you weren't trying to get to the end, you got to go. You impeding me. I got things I need to do. I don't need no kids. I can't get no rest, no drugs. I got a program. I got to focus. And so that's what I did. And so I had fun. I partied. I was like that. But I was like, I still remember the one time I'm in med school at the time, and I'm studying, and one of the bros were having a party. They're like, dog, come out and party. I was like, nah, man, I can't do it. They're like, dog, you can't. Nah, dog. And I'm like, look, man, I can't do it. I got a test on Monday. I got like 4 tests, and on Monday, I got an anatomy test, and I got to know the bones, every bone in your arm, by name, by sight. And they're like, oh, whatever. And I told them, I said, dog, are you going to be there Monday? Are you going to be in the room with me? Do you know every bone in the hand? Nah. I said, shut the fuck up then. I got to go. The girls, the party, whatever, they're going to still be there. Ain't nothing I'd already been to or ain't already had. You know what I'm saying? I already seen that.
So at this point, you had to hit the maturity phase of life. Like I done pretty much jacked up every opportunity I've had to some extent.
Yeah.
Some of it was your fault. Some of it was the system's fault. Some of it was your body. Yeah. But that's okay. So you go down to Tulane, you apply to some med schools. Where you end up getting a med school at?
I got in, so I applied to Ohio State, Georgetown, GW, University of Louisville, University of Kentucky, Howard, and I think UCLA.
Okay, we back on that West Coast.
Yep, there we go. Because I had cousins
who-
out there. And I just like California supposed to be nice, you know, but like weather and everything.
Who
like that.
won the lottery on Rob?
University of Louisville.
Okay, so you went to Louisville for med school.
Yep, we went to University of
Okay.
Louisville. Louisville came out, and they were like, I got the University of Louisville. I got in Ohio State.
So you go to Louisville for med school.
Mhm.
21 years old, still young as all get out.
Well, by the time I got to
21,
Louisville,
22?
I was 23.
23.
I did 2 years.
Still young.
Mhm.
Okay, so you get to Louisville. 23 years old from med school. Talk to me about that process, because we all know, like, I think a lot of times there's some places that have a lot of smoke and mirrors and hype around them.
Mhm.
Medical school, in my opinion, is one of those places, kind of. Like Navy SEAL training got a lot of hype around it,
Yeah.
right? You go there in world-class condition, the shit ain't that bad. It's a solid, normal training pipeline.
Well, the key about med school, so I got offered a wait list for Howard. GW didn't want to talk to me. Georgetown turned me down because I didn't have the highest grades. Ohio State and Louisville both offered me a 5-year program. They said, we want you to come the first year as a grad student.
Okay.
And if you can and we'll let you take an audit as many of the med school courses you want, except for certain ones you had to take. They said, if you're successful at that, you're automatically enrolled in the freshman class and to med school. And Louisville gave me the most scholarship money offer from Ohio State. And
Okay, so let's talk about this. Let's talk about this, Rob. Hang on. Okay. Even after everything you did, you still got to go audit a year of class to get into med school. I want people to hear this, because one of my other big arguments is this generation doesn't want to do the preliminary work necessary to get the reward. Okay. So talk about that, man. Like, talk about the decision process.
At this point, like I said, I had already gone back to school. My mom's helped me out. I was working to do the post-bac just to get into med school. So once I got the application, and I had a girlfriend, my girlfriend was in Maryland at the time. I'm leaving there to go, and I'm like, you won't be in Maryland. I'm going to have to go to a school at. I tried to get into Maryland. I didn't get in. I'm not going to make that mistake. Like, I'm in love. I got to, we was tight. We've been together for a year and a half, but I'm like, I got to go do what I got to do. We got the long distance. We ain't had a phone. We ain't had Twitter. We had, YouTube visual stuff. But that was cool. We've been together 2 years. But I was like, I got to take this shot because I've already, excuse my language, fucked up 3 other shots. Midshipman Navy, gone. OCS, gone. Marine boot camp, gone. Okay, what I'm going to do? If I'm serious, and I put all this work in to study, if the offer on the table was, you come down here, and you prove yourself, you put the work in for that year as a grad student, and you take all these these were med school courses. So I took courses with the class of 1998 with that freshman class. That's what it was. They were like, you can come here, you can do some grad school bullshit in the lab, somebody responsible for you, but you're going to be sitting in the freshman med school classes taking the same coursework as everybody else is, except for they taking maybe 5 classes, I'm taking 3. They said, that's the plan. And so at that point, I'm like, okay, that's what's on the table. It's the same thing as my daughter. Like, you talk to my daughter. My daughter wanted to go to grad school. She going to Columbia. Columbia is the only one that didn't put on a wait list. Columbia's #1 school. She's like, I don't know what to do. I'm like, girlfriend, come talk to me when you got options. Right now, you're going to Columbia because that's what the option is.
That's what the option is. You ain't got no options. You got something on the table.
Right.
It may not be the right color, the right car, but that motherfucker got 4 wheels in the engine and starts. I'm getting in that motherfucker and driving it.
Yep.
Like, I got to go.
I told her my analogy was to her, and the same thing for me. I want to buy a car. I go up to the lot. I want the Ferrari. I want the Porsche. The man be like, here go the BMW in blue, and that's the only thing the credit gonna approve you for. What you driving? I guess I'm driving that car. So for me at that time, I'm like, I got Louisville, I got Ohio State. I think Louisville's gonna be the better option, the better fit for me from a financial standpoint, and wasn't that bad. And I'm like, I visited. I'm like, okay, we're gonna do this. So I went to Louisville to med school. Started off as a grad student, took the courses to everybody, and it was a humbling experience. Because like you talk about Navy SEAL training, you with world-class athletes, that goes back to, at that point, I've gotten the maturity. I know myself more. I have the introspection. I'm like, I know what Rob is. I know what Rob can do. And so it was funny because, man, you got cats. It was cats that didn't study, go up there and knock out 100 on a test, 90 on a test. He's like, damn. And I'm sitting up there studying all weekend, trying to get, trying to get the passing grade, trying to get as best grade as I can.
Yeah.
And that was a humbling, but it was an eye-opening experience. It was also a calming experience for me because I tell people all the time, tell my son the same thing. I said, you go into the test and you prepare. If you prepared properly for med school, whatever you're doing, but at that point I'm preparing for med school. I go and take a test. If I've studied and done the material and done whatever I need to do, pay attention to class, go to class, what I get on the test is what I get on the test, right? And cats will always be wondering, like, what you get? Comparing each other. Med school's cutthroat. They'd be like, what'd you get? Because everybody looking at you, what'd you get? Comparing, because you get ranked. That's how you get it. And that's the unknown thing. Well, once you get in med school, you figure that out.
Yeah. You get your residency based on your rank.
On your score, on who you are in the class and what your grades are. And a little bit in what your aptitude is. But for me, I was like, man, that man said we got white coats for everybody. The first day of med school, he said, and some med schools ain't like that. Like I've heard some, like Duke, I've heard not like that. Some med schools be like, look left, look right. That cat ain't gonna be here when you get in. At the end of this, Louisville was like, we got enough coats for all y'all. Y'all just need to do the work. And so I was like, I'm gonna get through this. I'm gonna have a white coat. I ain't worried about how well you doing over there, as long as I do my part. So I never, like after a test, I wasn't checking on the board, running the board, look for your number and figure what your grade was. I go back there when I feel like going back there and look at it. I don't need to go back there and check right now because at that point I'm like, I'm doing the work, I'm putting the work in, I'm doing my best effort, and we're gonna see where it is. And and I did good. I wanted to be a surgeon when I was in med school.
Okay.
Because ER was a top show. I wanted to be like Eric LaSalle. I wanted to be a trauma surgeon.
Yeah.
Until I did the rotations. So I tell folks, because people go to med school and they get all cricked off and locked up and stuff, and I'm like, you don't really. I've been mentoring kids to med school. I'm like, first of all, major in what you want to major in. Some people tell you need to be, a biology major, biochemistry major. I'm like, I'm political science, bachelor's in international studies. Had to take 2 years of post back to get prepared just to get admitted. And now I'm in there with folks that did all that stuff. I'm in there with folks that dads are doctors, neurosurgeons and stuff like that. My best friend from one of our frat brothers from med school, he graduated. He's a neurosurgeon.
And to your point, Rob, I got we got a bunch of doctors, right? One of the bros who's since passed away, shout out to Kedrick Webster, man. He got medical school out of the Naval Academy, okay? And so he was in residency doing OBGYN at Norfolk General. So I got to go deliver babies with him because he had that night shift. And so when I came out the club at 2, 3 in the morning, I was a SEAL. I was on fire, bro. I'd be like, yo, I'm going to go hang out with Ked and a bunch of nurses, And I just remember him talking about like, guys want to go do stuff. And then they go do it. They're like, no, I don't want to do this all day, right? Like surgery, right? Like surgeons. Surgeons are doing like real work, right? Like people go family medicine to avoid all of the shenanigans of being like blood and all that other good stuff, right? You got some people going to radiology and like
my best friend's a radiologist.
Yeah, like brain surgery. There's a lot of stress in brain surgery. There's really
I had no doubt I could have done surgery if I put my mind to it, but I had enough knowledge of myself to know that it wasn't where I wanted to be or wanted to do for 10, 20 years. A lot of and then I'm be honest, a lot of the surgeons are assholes, dog.
Yeah. And
I knew that I was going to end up punching somebody in the face. It's going to be a problem because you ain't going to treat me like that and disrespect me for no damn reason. I tell a story. The culinary experience. I'm in Louisville. I'm on an away rotation doing surgery. I still wanted to do surgery at that time. I'm with my attending. My attending is pimping me. And in medicine, in med school, they pimp you. They ask you questions. Your attending will ask you a question. You're supposed to answer the question. No the answer. He asked me what the Latin name of the biliary tree was. And I didn't know it. And he's supposed to say, sir, I don't know what it is. He supposed to tell me. This asshole would not tell me. We sat there in the lunchroom eating ice cream that he bought me, and he was just having me sit there like an idiot, wouldn't tell me the answer. And I was like, this is bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like that. That was one thing. And then I had a resident with scrubbing in surgeries. He was scrubbing in extra surgeries and stuff, dog. Like I remember scrubbing in a heart transplant at like 6 a.m. We walked in and scrubbed that surgery at 6 a.m. We left 11 o'clock when they put that cat on bypass. We came back at 1 o'clock. They were still operating. And I was like, blah. This ain't for me. I mean,
18-hour neuros. We got the number one neurosurgeon resident out of NYC, a dude named Lit from Haiti. That dude talking about 18-hour surgeries.
And I could do it, but I was like, that ain't me. I don't want that. And I remember I had met my wife at the time during there, but my wife was in the Air Force, was a drill instructor, down in Lackland. So we got this long distance thing. And I remember I'm waking up. There's a time when she's breaking up with the recruits. I'm going to bed. We're going to bed at the same time in the middle of the night saying bye. And she goes to get up and go back with the recruits. And I remember I'm like, I'm not seeing daylight. I'm missing life. I'm missing a lot of things. And I was like, I don't. And the biggest part of that, I was closing around it out by saying I didn't have the sacrifice in me to do that field honor. So therefore I was like, I shouldn't do it. If I can't put enough of myself in as these cats are, there's like running and just like, I need to do this and put it above everything else. And, you know, like I said, that resident was scrubbing in like 3-4 surgeries. He don't need to be in one of them. He's going to find extra stuff to go into because he wanted to see that. And I'm like, I'm glad with the one we had to do. And that's enough. I was like, yes, I could be a surgeon, but I felt I would do that profession a dishonesty by trying to mimic an ideal in a lifestyle that I think did not fit me in my disposition at the time. Yeah. And then I did trauma surgery rotation as a resident as a 4th year. And I remember being in the hospital on Monday, not seeing daylight till Wednesday. I go home, look at my mail to figure out what happened on Monday, go to sleep. I'm back in the hospital at 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning rounding, and I'm gone for the next 3 days. I was like, that ain't how I want to live my life. So I decided not to do that. And so I ended up I graduated. At that time, I ended up finding another opportunity because I'm still military minded. So I'm starting.
And we're starting to get, hey, we done left all the shenanigans of Northeast D.C. We done got an undergrad degree at Maryland. And now we done got a PhD in medicine from Louisville. Shit looking kind of a little bit better, Rob. Yep. It still ain't there. I'm going to tell everybody that's listening. You probably an hour into this podcast. Yeah. You still ain't gonna believe where this motherfucker is going. We still got a lot of hill to climb.
So I sit there and I meet a bruh who's a Kentucky Air National Guard recruiter. Okay. He's like, what's up, bruh? I was like talking to him. He's like, man, you know, we start talking about it a little bit. He started hearing about the military side and what I'm doing. He's like, man, we got a program for you. We looking for docs. Okay. He said, you should go check out the services. So I do. Call the Army 3-year program. Because at this time, I'm like 3 years into med school. Almost, you know, I'm almost going to graduate. I'm talking about clinicals. 3 years, ask about 2-year Army scholarship. They're like, nah, we only giving 3 years out, dog. I'm sorry. You should have came earlier. Ask the Navy. Navy says, fill out the paperwork. I filled out the paperwork. I got on the wait list. They put me on the wait list. I was number 12. They took 8 that year. Okay. No scholarship. No Navy HPSB scholarship. Air Force put that scholarship in. They're like, we're only doing 4 years. And now some of my classmates are Navy, Air Force, and Army scholarship paid for doing med school. Yep. So I go back to my frat, but he said, I got a program for you. Air National Guard in Kentucky. We commission while you're in med school. Okay. Well, what I got to do? Finish med school and drill with the Guard. Say no less. So in 1997, I go down there, do a physical, and in July, I got a commission.
Did you go to OTC or they just commissioned you straight away?
I'm one of the few Air Force medical officers who's never been to Air Force OTC.
Yeah. I mean, they'll do that now. National Guard will be slick like that. Like they'll commission you and then we'll send you later, right? Like we'll send you later.
What they said to me is they looked at my record. They said, you've been to Quantico and you've been to OCS twice. There's nothing we can teach you about being an officer or marching or anything else like that. So they said, we waived it. They said the headquarters waived it, said there's no reason to send him. I said, I go if you want me to for the TDY. They were like, nah, that's good. I mean, and so they said, we just need you to pass the Air Force physical fitness test and we commissioned you. I go up there, my first physical and my first PT test, and I ain't bring no PT gear. Because I know I'm supposed to test. I'm in uniform. I'm drilled out. They like, okay, you got PT test you. I'm like, okay, let's go. They're like, what are you talking about? I stripped the boots and utes and run the whole PT test in boots and utes and get 100. They're like, what the hell? And I'm singing cadence.
Yeah.
I'm running singing cadence. They're like, this guy's crazy. What's going on? So at this point, my last year is of med school. Last year, I'm a lieutenant in the Air Force National Guard, and they're like, we didn't know where to put me. They're like, what are we going to do with him? Where we put him? Because I was the first one that ever accepted. I was like one of the few, I guess the first one they ever had accepted that program at that particular unit. Okay. So they said, we're going to put him with the flight docs. Okay. Can I be a flight doc? They said, I don't know. Let's do the physical. Say less. They do the physical, send it down, comes back, you pass. And so I'm like, wow. So I'm going to be a doc and I get to fly. They were like, yeah. And remember, I always wanted to fly.
Okay, did you know that when they was talking about flight doc? When they was talking about the program, did you understand that you were going to have to go learn how to fly?
Yes, and I knew that they were going to send. So the flight docs, a lot of people don't know what flight docs do. The flight docs, you have to fly. You have a requirement to fly 4 hours every month in the Air Force, and you fly in the back seat with the
Okay.
pilot. And they let you
Okay.
fly except for during critical phases of flight. So I knew
Okay.
that was my avenue to fly. And to backtrack again, to give you another surprise, while I was at Maryland before I went to the Marine OSO, the Navy officer selection officer guy lady got me.
Okay.
Put a package in. This is before I got to OC. This is after the boot camp in Parris Island, but before going to Quantico. She got
Okay.
me, put a package in. I got selected.
To fly in the Navy.
I got selected for a Naval Flight Officer slot.
Okay.
She
All
calls
right.
me on the
All
phone, says, Rob, congratulations. I just got a call. You got selected for NFO slot. You made the board selected. You got
For
selected.
NFO. I hate the fact that they be sending us to NFO school, bro.
But
it's so grimy.
But I was like, dude, I was gonna be goose. But I wasn't gonna get down the aircraft. I was gonna eject. I was like, word. And she calls me and she said, one problem, I just got another call from BUMED down in Pensacola. One of your eyes is outside of the standard. Can you get an eye exam saying your eyes are good? And I knew I'd been wearing glasses since high school and contacts.
Yeah.
And now I don't need them. I've had PRK. So all the stuff I know medical now, I know, I was like, this is before that stuff happened. And so I had lost my NFO slot. And she said, I give you 3, but there's 2 other slots that the board will give you and put you in. 3 other, I think, surface warfare, Marine, you're going to get kicked out of this one, dog. Navy special warfare.
Let's go. Sign them up. Dog, 1890, you would have been like the 5th Black SEAL officer. 6th. Yeah.
And so I ended up with the OSO instead because I was like, you ain't get me in the submarine because you can't get out them bastards when something go wrong.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do surface warfare. I was like, chip and paint, you know what I'm saying? Or, and at that time, I knew enough about the SEALs. Like, yo, like I said, I got into that self-reflection phase like, nah, that ain't me. That ain't me.
I ain't about that life.
Right.
Okay, so you down there in the National Guard, you in your last year of medical school.
And they sent
when
me,
does it come?
Yep, they sent
when
me
does it come up
Go ahead.
that you go into flight school? When does it come up that you go into flight school?
So they say, so what they do with flight docs, you go to what's called AMP, Aerospace Medicine Primary, for like, and it's like 10, 12 weeks, whatever, at the time.
Okay.
And they let me do it. They don't do it anymore, but they let me do it as a medical student. So I did it as an elective.
Okay.
In 1999, I went down there and did it as an elective. It was in San Antonio, and you go through everything about aerospace medicine and how to be. And so the flight docs take care of the pilots, right? So you go through everything about phases of flight, hypoxia, everything about the medicine of pilots, and you also learn about the aircraft. And they give you a couple of rides in the back of an aircraft to get you see if you oriented, you can be okay to fly, how they egress and stuff like that. So I do all that in 1999, loving it. Finish, boom, I'm a flight doc. Graduate med school, I'm a flight doc with that unit, and I finished my residency. And so I actually did that as a med student. I got delayed. I got picked up to do a transitional medicine residency at Georgetown University.
So let me understand this, Rob, because I'm not clear on this one. So you don't go to flight school?
No, you don't go to full flight school. You go to it's changed now. So now they take them all the way through their first solo and actually let them get private pilot's license.
Okay.
Back in the day, you got to fly, but you didn't go through every part. You didn't go through the whole pilot UPT program, but you was down there at Randolph with them and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
So you went through everything you needed medically to know how to support those guys and do their flight physicals and keep everybody flying and do special duty operations, physicals and stuff like that, like dive physicals, jump physicals, and all that kind of stuff. So I get out of there and I get a residency back in D.C., where I'm from, in Georgetown.
Okay.
Who wouldn't accept me as a student, a med student. Yep. Now they accepted me as an intern.
Okay.
And my sister happened to work as in the HR department at Georgetown Medicine too at the time. And so she put me with some people. I talked to them. They're like, yeah, we'd be happy to bring them down. Send us package. Cool. So now I'm married. I've got a 1-year-old. I got a kid. It's 2000. I am at the DC National Guard as a flight surgeon.
And you 30. You 30,
I'm
roughly.
30, yeah.
How old are you?
30.
30 years old. When you born?
68.
Okay, I'm 70. So you 30. Okay, I got you. All right.
And so
got a kid, got a wife.
Yeah.
Like real life is happening. You in residency at Georgetown.
Yeah, my wife is in the Guard now too, because she was active duty when we met. She got out.
Okay.
Got back in. I told her, I said, girl, don't waste that time. She got back in. So we're in the same Guard unit. She's a master sergeant. I'm a lieutenant. Now a captain. We in the same Guard unit. And so we sitting there, and I was like, I always wanted to be I wanted to fly planes. I wanted to fly fighter jets. I wanted to be in fighter jets.
Yeah.
Now I'm a flight surgeon for the 101st Fighter Squadron in D.C.
Okay.
Fly, and I get my first F-16 ride. I'm the flight doc for the squadron. I'm flying with those guys. I'm like, dude, I paid them to do this shit.
Yeah.
I'm in the
Yeah.
backseat of F-16. Woo, just lovely. Life is great. And I'm there, and September 11 happens. 9/11 happens. While I'm in D.C., I'm on duty in Bethesda, at Bethesda Naval when it happens.
Okay.
My wife is working downtown in Georgetown. I still remember that day, and I'm calling. We were trying to get her, and we lived on base at Andrews. So we're going through all of that. And at that time, I had just come on active duty because I left I found out about another program. I was like, I want to come on active duty, man. I want to be a highly trained. I want to be the best flight surgeon, the top flight surgeon I can. And so in the Air Force, the Navy has them too. In the Army, they have this thing called a residency in aerospace medicine called a RAM. And so I was like, I want to be a RAM. Like, we got to be on active duty to be a RAM. So at the time, I'm at Georgetown. I finished my program at Georgetown. I go to George Washington University. And that's where I wasn't on active duty at the time. I go to George Washington University. Now I'm doing family practice residency, right? Because the Air Force, like, they want flight docs. They want flight docs to be family practice trained. I'm like, cool, I got you. I'm doing that. My residency closes. My residency is at GW. GW has to close their residency down during my second year. Okay. I'm contracted to come on active duty through it's called a health professions program. It's called HAP, or a FAT program. I'd done a program where the Air Force will pay you during your residency a little stipend, and you got to come on active duty when you finish. So I'm already scheduled to come on active duty when I finish my family practice residency. My family practice residency closes in the middle of my residency. So I'm like, man, why do I keep having these stumbling blocks trying to get where I'm going? And my residency director calls to Andrews Air Force Base, to the active duty family practice program, to let them know as a courtesy they're closing. But he also says, hey, I got this Air Force guy. I don't know what to do with him. He said, what do you mean you got an Air Force guy? I got an Air Force guy in my program. He said, some program he's supposed to come to you guys when he finishes our program and come on active duty there. I don't know what to do with him. He said, have him call me. I called his colonel next day. He says, I got a spot. If you're willing to come on active duty right now, I'll call down to Air Education Command and ask them and make it happen. I had orders, and 30 days later.
Let's go. So you went over to Andrews family practice. Yep.
He said, only thing I need from you is write out a statement saying that I am requesting to come on extended active duty voluntarily. And I don't care where and wherever the Air Force sent me, I sent that. And I came on active duty in July 2000 at Andrews Air Force Base. July 2001, Andrews Air Force, July 2001. And I've been on active duty for 20. I retired in 22. So I did 21 years on active duty.
Let's go. All right. So listen, we can't skip 22 years of active duty.
I know.
We're just getting good right now. Okay. So you go over to Andrews, you in family practice. Mm-hmm. Are you back in flight surgeon status, or are you kind of doing family practice? I'm doing family practice,
doing my residency because it's 2 years.
Okay. So they got you over there. Mm-hmm. They're going to kind of clean up the end of your residency.
Yep. And but I'm a flight surgeon. I got flight surgeon wings because I've already done the AMP. So the deal was, when I finished residency, I get to go back to flight medicine.
Okay.
Like I said, 9/11 had happened. My wife gets deployed. Oh God, in 2003. I got 2 kids at this point now, and I'm doing residency by myself.
2 little kids. Yeah.
I'm doing residency by myself. My wife is deployed overseas. I'm by myself trying to do this residency. And they like, you want to quit? No, you want us to, suspend you? I'm like, no. Luckily, I'm in DC. I'm from DC. Mom, family, and friends helped out, took care of the kids. So at that point in time, I'm going to work on base, do my residency, my medicine stuff, pick up the kids from mom's house at night, put them to bed, get some sleep, wake up back next morning, and do it again. I did that for like 8 months till all of a sudden she came home from the Guard, because she was still with the DC Guard.
Okay.
So, it wasn't pleasant, it wasn't sweet, but I had to do it. That's what you had to do, to get through. And I graduate.
But you're 30 now. Yeah. You're 30.
I'm 30 now.
You get to 30, I tell people I do real work at 30.
Yeah.
Like you ain't a little kid no more trying to figure it out. Like, you got responsibilities. You got 2 little kids. You got a wife deployed. You in the middle of residency. You're like, yeah, I'm gonna figure this shit out. You done took enough L's in life at this point to know what I need to do to not take no more L's.
And the other part about it was that, like I said, she'd done 16 years active duty Air Force. So she knew about it. So she knew what she signed up to. You know what I'm saying? So she was good. She's like, okay, because as soon as she got back and I graduated, Air Force sent me to Korea for a year by myself.
Unaccompanied.
Unaccompanied.
Yep.
Kunsan to the Wolfpack. You know,
Yeah.
my wolf pack is up there somewhere in my wall. But yeah, I was like, man, you know, they don't like us. They done deployed you for 8 months. I'm with the kids. As soon as I get back, now y'all sending me over to Korea for a year by myself as a flight doc and an FP doc. And so that's what happened. And so 2003, 2004, I'm in Korea. She's at home, you know, with the kids. I bought our first house. She moved, had a lovely feeling of coming back from Korea to a house I ain't never lived in.
Yeah. That's a real military life right there now.
But Korea was cool, and it was the best assignment, one of the best assignments I ever had, because I learned that, number one, I had incorporated everything they taught me, you know what I'm saying? And that I could do this on my own. I knew what I was doing. It gave me that confidence, like your first deployment, or like when you talk about, you know, you get to the teams, you just trying to learn mode, trying to, you know, meet the expectations. It's operational, it's real as shit. You get down there and you like worried about, you know, starting the next war anytime, any day, you know. You got these cats across the border. So it's real talk, you know. It was a real focused 12 months. Because it wasn't nothing else but, it's like being on deployment. I tell folks, dog ain't nothing there but to work, especially when the family's not there.
The bros is good in Korea, though.
Oh, yeah.
The bros are good in Korea.
Yeah.
Because the bros was good in Korea in 99, 2000 when I went.
Yeah.
The bros was out in Korea.
Yep. So I go to Korea. I come back to Korea, and one of the things I did get there, and this is where we go, you know, what you want to do. And then knowing the system, the Air Force is like, we're going to send you back to family practice. I said, nope, I go to Korea, but you're going to release me back into a flight medicine billet. So I get to Korea as an FP doc, and I'm slated into a family practice billet, but I got wings.
Okay.
The chief flight doc sees I have wings. He's like, what you doing with wings? I'm a flight doc. He said, why aren't you with me? I said, because I just finished residency and they wouldn't let me come back over to flight medicine. He said, oh, we can get around that. So he dual credentialed me as a flight doc and an FP doc. And so I got to do flight medicine and family practice while I was there.
Gotcha.
And I gotten headquarters to write in my orders that I get to return to whatever base I wanted to as a flight doc for going to Korea for a year.
Okay.
So
solid.
I worked that. Finish Korea. I get back to Andrews Air Force Base, and I'm a flight doc. I'm in a flight medicine clinic. It's cool. I'm at home. Family's back. Everybody's cool. I'm learning my trade, but I still want to be a resident. I still got this bug in my head that I want to be a RAM, the residency airspace medicine. That's like the Top Gun guys. Like fighter pilots want to go to Top Gun.
Top Gun of medicine.
Yeah, so I want to be a RAM.
Yeah.
And so I start doing what I can. You know, I end up being a flight chief. You know, now I'm a major at this point. And I remember talking to one of my bosses. The colonel was a RAM. And I said, and it was a job they had some special job that came out. It was like, you're going to be working with like CIA and doing all kind of, you know, special ops stuff. And I said, oh, I like to do that. And he said, Rob, I think you'd be good at it. I'd love to do it for you, but you're not a RAM. You don't have those letters behind your name. I can't recommend you. You can't go there. And I was like, well, how'd I get there? It said, you need to go to the RAM. So at that point, I start going down to the schoolhouse in the Air Force. In the Air Force School of Aerospace Medicine. The schoolhouse was at Brooks. And that's where like the astronaut program started, actually, with Kennedy. He dedicated the place down there.
Okay.
So it's
Brooks
like
Medical Center. Where's Brooks at?
Well, Brooks is gone now. It was Brooks City base. So
down here in that's why I know it. It's in San Antonio on the south side of town.
Yep, it's a city base now. Ain't nothing else. But that's where the astronaut program was, and that's where the schoolhouse was for aerospace medicine.
Gotcha.
So I start taking all the courses I could. You know, if they had a TDY or a course. So it got to the point where I had taken all the courses that they offered for flight docs, like almost twice, right?
Okay.
There was one courses to take. I knew I'd be in a course like aircraft mishap course, like we learn what happens at an aircraft crash, right? And they'd be like, hey, Rob, and Colonel would be like, hey, you're back. You know, we know you, like that. I became a known entity, right? You know, and so come 2000 and then, you know, I'm going through the courses. I done deployed now. Actually, twice. By that point in time, I deployed twice.
So you went to Korea and then you went over to the sandbox?
I deployed in 2005, 2006.
What were you doing?
To support. What were you doing? I was with the KC-135 squadron supporting B-52 strikes in Afghanistan area.
Okay. Yeah.
My dad died while I was gone at deployment. That was crazy. Flew home, emergency leave, flew back, you know, back to the mission.
Yep.
Then in 2008, get a call. We're going to send you someplace. Bam. Next thing you know, I'm in Afghanistan. In 2008, 2009, doing aerovac work, which was the most, you know, humbling. I remember I'm out of Bagram. And so I'm doing airback work. Basically, we're doing point of care clearances. So as soon as somebody get hit, unfortunately, they get them land stool for treatment and stuff. So it was so hectic in 08, 09. It was so busy that they were actually putting flight docs on the missions with critical patients because they didn't have enough critical care teams. So I did
Gotcha.
it was hectic. So it we was gone. Like it was 3 docs there, and we were passing each other on the flight line, going back and forth between missions, going back and forth out of Germany. We had one set of body armor, good body armor. I still remember we passed it to each other. As the guy coming home would say, "Hey, he got the armor," and the guy going out would take the armor and go back on the plane and then go out again. And we were doing that.
Yep.
And so I did that for from 2008, 2009, about 40 airback missions. We were back up for the 101st for their medevacs, that CASEVAC. So if somebody get hit and they go out there, we were doing that. They were shooting at helicopters and stuff. It was crazy, like that. I mean,
you don't come a long way from Southeast D.C. now.
Yeah, but I was in my element. I was doing good. I enjoyed it. Everybody was like, "You doing good." The guy I was deployed with in 08, 09, Lunchbox was like, he was a Ram. He's like, "You should be a Ram." So I put my package in while I was deployed and got the nod, and they're like, "Yep, you got selected. You going to the residency airspace medicine."
But hadn't you taken all the classes already?
No, these are this is schoolhouse classes. This is not the residency. The residency is
Oh, okay.
It's long.
Got you. You still got to go to residency. You took all the classes. Now they're gonna make you do the medicine shit, which is go to residency for 2 years.
I took all the training classes, that they had.
Got you.
So now I want to be a Ram. I want that patch, right? I want to be the big dogs. I mean, and so I got selected. They said, okay. And the way they used to do it, you got selected either high or low.
And you're 04 now? 04 right now?
I'm still a major. I'm a deployed major.
Yeah, 04. 04.
Yeah, I'm 04, yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
And so the way back, and that's just 2008, it's like 2010, you get selected. So I got selected, put my package together. You got to either do high or low. High option was you can go to any school you want to in the country. Low was you had to go to USA's or like a state school.
Gotcha.
I put my package together, I get selected for high.
Okay.
This time when the phone call comes where you want to go, I do what I want to do, not what my mom want to do.
You went to Howard?
No, I went to Hopkins.
I'm playing with you. Okay. Man, I heard John Hopkins is rough, my dude. John Hopkins is a bloodbath.
It's good.
Is that a true statement? It was good.
It's rough, but it was great. It was great.
Okay.
I mean, and the option was I could go to University of Texas, Wright State or something like that, or I could go to Hopkins. And one of my friends had done the Ram ahead of me, and he went to Hopkins. And he gave me some advice. He said, "You got forever to go to USU, so do the military schools. You got one chance to go to Hopkins or to Harvard or something like that. So if they're going to give you the option, take it.
Eat it. Eat it right now. Right now. Eat that whole plate of food right now. All right, let's go.
To eat the plate of food by then.
Hey, Rob, the decision-making process is getting a lot better. I told these cats, you ain't going to believe the story. The story is starting to make a lot of damn sense now. People over here like, holy crap. So you go to Johns Hopkins 2-year residency. Are you up there full-time? Where's the wife and kids at?
Wife and kids are in D.C. What they require you to do is get your master's of public health. That's what that year is for. So I go to Hopkins for a year, commuting from Maryland up to Baltimore every day for class. I graduate, get my master's of public health. And then they PCS you down to back to San Antonio, to Brooks, because Brooks was still open at the time, but it closed and they moved us to Lackland. And you finish up doing your aerospace medicine year. But I asked for an additional year. I said, I want more training. They said, well, you can do a residency in preventive medicine or occupational medicine. Which one you want? I said, I'll take occupational medicine. So I stayed 2 years after. So my program was 3 years long. My program was 1 year for the Hopkins, another year for aerospace medicine, and another year for occupational medicine. So I did 3 years.
Were the wife and kids with you in San Antonio at this time?
Yep. Okay. They were with me in San Antonio. The wife had retired from the Guard at that time, did her 20 and punched out. And she started doing her retirement job, as she calls it. It was good. So I do that from 2011. It's like 2011 is when I finish up. Now I have finished I got a residency in family practice. I'm a flight doc. I've got a residency in aerospace medicine. I got a residency in occupational medicine. And now I'm a RAM flight doc now. I'm a residency aerospace medicine trained flight doc. And so at this point, that opens up, you're expected to take command. You're expected to be in charge of programs. You're expected to be the chief flight doc of the base. You're expected to be the chief flight doc. The surgeon generals of the Air Force usually have been Rams, a lot of them.
Okay.
So you're on this now command pathway. And I'm like, how did I get here? So I come out the Ram and they say, now I'm a lieutenant colonel, promoted. They said, you know, I'm a 05. They're like, okay, you can take a squadron or you can become chief of aerospace medicine at a base. Knowing myself and the way I looked at things, I was like, I don't want to jump. I want to be able to fully know all the positions that I'm supposed to be taking care of. So I said, I'm gonna go be the chief of the base, because the chief of the base, you do that, then you go to be the commander. You see what I'm saying, of the squadron, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, if I'm gonna be the commander of the squadron, I need to know everything about the base. So why would I skip the chief of the base job? So I went to be a SGP, it's called, and I went to McCord as the chief of aerospace medicine at McCord.
I grew up in Stilica, my homeboy.
I know exactly where you at.
I grew up there, man. Let me tell you something. My mom worked on McCord as a government clerk. Then when I was in end of middle school, beginning of high school, man, I would go to work with her at 8:00. We would 3 or 4 of my boys would be at my house at 8. We get in a car with her. We would be in that base gym and playing racquetball, lifting weights all day long.
Yep.
And then we go home with her at 4:30.
Yep. So I'm at McCord.
Yeah.
McCord is lovely. I'm the chief of aerospace medicine, holding it down. I'm flying C-17 missions all over the place. And then they say, it's time to deploy again. What? I've already done 3. What's going on?
What year is this? I
was in 14, 13, 14.
Oh, yeah. We still getting it 14 now.
So they send me, this time I don't go down range to the sandbox. They send me to UAE.
Okay.
And I'm now the chief of aerospace medicine at where was that? Not at Al Dhafra.
You get the kids come?
No,
kids get to
I'm
come
by myself.
Okay. All right.
And I'm
for a year?
2014.
No, for a year.
No, 6 months, 6 months to 8 months.
Okay, that ain't too bad.
So I'm down there, and I am the chief of aerospace medicine, and I'm also the deputy commander of the medical group. So I'm getting these. So now I'm like in this, since I'm a RAM, I'm in this pathway where now I'm managing all the flight surgeons, all the aerospace medicine stuff to keep the planes flying, to keep the pilots healthy. And I'm doing all the aerovac stuff. You're managing all the aerovac. You're doing the Prev Med, keeping the water safe, the base safe. You're doing all of that stuff, right?
Yep.
And I'm the deputy group commander, you know, helping out the boss. You know, he went home for his mid tour, and I'm in charge of the group. And he says, yo, and now my call sign is Frag. He's like, hey, Frag, don't burn down the base while I'm gone. Don't burn down the med group. 2 days after he leaves, there's a fire.
Damn.
Luckily, nobody got hurt, but I was like, oh, man, he just said, the last thing he told me was don't burn nothing down. Shit. So get through that deployment, you know, and I'm taking care of the docs. I'm taking care of guys. I'm taking care of the U-2 pilots. We got a U-2 squadron there, F-22 squadron there, F-15 squadron there, KC-135s. No, KC, yeah, but K4, no, we had KC-135s, and we had E-2 Hawkeyes there. So we had like 5 squadrons. I'm responsible for the docs that are taking care of all those guys. I'm flying missions up north. 10-hour missions, 12, 16-hour missions with the AWACS sitting up on top of Afghanistan tracking stuff. I'm flying refueling missions, refueling bombers and F-15s that are dropping bombs, even though while I was there, they ain't dropped nothing. And then all of a sudden, ISIS comes along, they start dropping everything. They're like, I thought leave.
Yeah.
So I'm flying, you know, missions with the crew, and it's a flight doc. You're crew, so you fly with the crew. You know what I'm saying? Depending on what aircraft you're flying. It used to be, I've talked to a couple of flight docs back in the days. They was flying in Vietnam. They was flying on the Ho Chi Minh Trail dropping bombs. I don't know if that contradicts the Geneva Convention or, you know, the Hippocratic Oath, you know, and I ain't get to do that part. But, you know, I'm logging hours. I'm flying missions. I'm flying the same profiles with folks. If we flying a refueling profile, refueling B-52s, I'm there. We're in the back of the jet with the same things like that. I mean, life is lovely. I'm doing what I want to do at this point. I'm a RAM now.
Yep.
I come back, see the family and the kids, and then I'm sitting in a meeting one day, and the boss comes and says, hey, Fred, what do you know about Arizona? Nothing, sir. Well, congratulations. You about to go to Luke Air Force Base as the commander of the Aerospace Medicine Squadron. What? Oh, and you just got promoted to colonel.
Hey, catch that fire, baby. You know, that medical field that y'all be just getting promoted like, oh, he need to be a 06. Hey, he a doctor promoted.
Yeah.
You know, y'all get promoted really quick, which is awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, shit, considering with all that dirt you climbed out of, that mud and grime, like, now we on a good path of life right here.
So now
it took you a couple years.
Yeah, so now I am a 06 select, taking over the medical squadron at Luke Air Force Base as they laid down the F-35s. They had F-16s first. Now they're bringing the first F-35s in there. So that was a
them
challenge,
motherfuckers,
you know.
hey, they turning off. They got a little bit of a problem right now with the F-35, just turning off, hitting reboot while you trying to fly.
Yeah, it's a lot of software in that jet, you know.
Yes, sir.
And so I'm doing that. I spent 2 years in Phoenix as the squadron commander there, running the squadron, having lovely, you know, get my command time on. So now I'm in charge of not just, you know, 4, 5, 10, 20 people. I'm in charge of 100, 120. I'm in charge of a squadron, whole squadron, you know, making sure they get after the mission. The planes keep flying, the pilots are healthy, and whatever else we need to do. It was a time since they had just introduced that F-35. There's a lot of eyes on them because they're like, this jet got to work. These pilots need to fly this jet. They got to be healthy and stuff like that. So at that point, you know, doing that, learning how to manage people even more. I've matured out of the phase of making hopefully some of the bad decisions, so to speak. I'm taking opportunities as they come along, and you know, I'm a colonel now. I pin on colonel. I got Tuskegee Airmen there and everything like that. It's just nice and lovely. And they say, okay, Flash, new job. Here come orders. I'm like, where am I going? I thought I was going to Vegas, to Nellis. That's what the inside word was.
Hey, listen, there's a lot of deception in the military when the orders is coming, bro.
I talked to somebody who had sent me the email. You're a number one pick, Rob. You're a number one pick, Frag. I knew the good dude. I knew the dude whose job, the guy who had the job was a guy we replaced in Afghanistan. We replaced him in Afghanistan, so I knew him. I was like, oh, it's going to be lovely. He's like, welcome to have you, boss. You know, we know who you are. We hand selected you. I get a call. I'm sitting by the pool. I got a call from my boss. Said, hey, give me a call back. I call him back. He's like, hey, I just got a call from the general. Selection list came down. Your orders come down. Congratulations. You're going to take command of the Aerospace Medicine Squadron at Offutt Air Force Base, Nebraska. I'm like, what the hell just happened?
Las Vegas or Nebraska?
Hey, you do the math, man.
Yeah,
and
bro.
As an 06, you're all in the Air Force. You can't refuse orders. You can't refuse an assignment. So I ended up in Nebraska as a squadron commander there. Did 2 years.
Wife and kids get to come?
Wife and kids. At this point, wife and kids coming everywhere, you know.
You know, Doc, you know how it is, bro. There's sometimes wife raise her hand and say, listen, I'm not going. I'm going to stay right here till you get the next set of orders.
That happened coming out of Nebraska. Because Nebraska, my wife hated Nebraska. And so coming out of Nebraska, she was like, so we do 2 years. I do the squadron command successfully. I do some stuff, you know, good stuff there. Name is good. I'm at my peak, so to speak. I'm right where I need to be. I'm in the groove. I'm a colonel. I'm well respected in my communities, or at least I hope so. If people see this, they may say no, but I'm well respected. You know, I'm mentoring folks. I'm mentoring, you know, younger cats, helping them, you know, follow the path in flight medicine or whatever they're trying to do. You know, through my roundabout ways and my lots of learning of stumbles and mistakes and stuff. And I'm like, you know, in part, I'm telling the cats, like, look, man, there's a way to get to something sometimes. It may not be roundabout, but if you really want to get there, you can get there. Some things you may see as failures aren't failures. They're just redirections of your path to what you're supposed to have done in the first place. You just couldn't see it.
Yep.
You know?
100%.
And I'm coming out of Nebraska, and I get a call from one of my boys, call sign Dingo. He says, we just selected orders. You getting orders. You're coming to be the chief of aerospace medicine for the Pacific.
Where's it? Hawaii?
Hawaii.
Let's go. Let's go.
So the wife is like, cool, I'll go to Hawaii. She was like, she said it was Alaska. You could have your own Eskimo girlfriend. I'm not going. So I get orders to Hawaii for Hickam as the chief aerospace medicine. So I am now the chief flight doc in charge of aerospace medicine for all the Pacific bases. So we're talking about all of Korea, all of Japan, all of Guam, Hawaii, and Alaska, and anything else between there.
Yes, sir.
And I got a staff of 4, and we report to the Surgeon General of PACAF, who reports to the 4-star, who at that time was CQ Brown, you know, and we're responsible for getting it on. I'm looking at, and it's crazy, man. Like you said, life throws you curveballs. It gives you what you want sometimes, more often, and don't give you what you need, what you want, but you just gotta, you know, gotta do it and expect it. And the family's there, they're thinking we're gonna travel with PACAF, we can go to China, we can go to Thailand, we can go to Korea, get some shopping on, we're gonna do all this stuff. I get there in July of 2019, and 2019, and then what happens in March of 2020? COVID-19. Shut shit down.
And you in the medical profession, bro.
Yes.
My wife in the medical profession. So that shit, like everybody else kind of just hung out to the crib, worked on the computer. Dog, if you was a medical professional in COVID, your ass, you just put your sheets in the closet because you didn't get to sleep at all. My wife was working 18 hours a day. She in medical research. Like that shit was crazy.
Yep.
You know?
And so, yeah, we're down there now. I'm in Hawaii. Wife's in Hawaii. My mother-in-law, who's 82 now, has moved to Hawaii. She's hanging out with us. I'm taking care of them. And, you know, we keep her quarantined in the house so nothing happens to her so she don't die because she's got medical problems. And in the meantime, I'm helping monitor the medical response for all the Pacific bases to keep everybody from being sick and not sick. You know, we briefing the generals and stuff and all this kind of stuff. And, you know, people like we still got to.
I mean, shit. Think about the aircraft carrier that was stuck in fucking, I think it was Korea.
No, it was Guam.
Guam with half the fucking crew, COVID. They fired everybody. They fired the CEO, the XO.
I was there for that. I know. I was at PACAF.
So let me ask you this: did they need to be fired?
That's a Navy decision.
I feel like that was some shit that's totally out of their fucking control.
It was out of their control, but you know, since you Navy and I've been Navy, the captain's responsible for everything that happened, no matter what.
Yeah, I give you that.
So
I give you that.
The moment somebody got sick, and only thing he could have done, dog, is probably throw the cat off the ship. Not to have that happen, because the moment somebody got sick on that ship, and unless he'd have thrown that cat off the ship, or if he would have, I mean, there was a lot of stuff we didn't know about how to protect folks and quarantine folks. We know how to quarantine. We've been quarantined since the Middle Ages, right? But it's but we had never, and in the Navy, in their defense, the Navy did not know how to take a ship of 5,000 folks with a contagious disease and keep that one dude from spreading to the rest of the ship. And the key part is, and still operate. You could do it. You just ain't operate. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
You're not flying jets off the ship. You're not doing all the things that a Navy carrier does. And since the Navy carrier is a national instrument of projection of power, you know, the answer there was the answer. So that captain, God help him, he was in a rock and a hard place, you know. And I remember, I was there for that whole thing. I was in the staff room. We was briefing up the 1 stars and everything else like that. They weren't the only ones that had problems during that time period of personnel and how to. We had countries that were basically saying, you know, you cannot bring Americans into our country. Yeah. And the generals were like, we don't like that. We the medical folks tell the generals, well, hey, sir, it's their country, and medically, that's right, to a degree. Unless you do X, Y, and Z, and that's where general officers get paid the big bucks. We just give them COAs. Here's your course of action, sir. What do you want to do?
Yeah.
So I was there for all of that. And it was a lovely time being in Hawaii. You know, being quarantined sucked, but it was a lovely time being in Hawaii. And then I'm flying, you know, when I can. Have the responsibility of and that was cool because at that point now I'm at the level now I'm interacting with air staff. I'm interacting with DC, like the Surgeon General staff and development teams. I'm sitting on promotion boards. You know, I'm sitting on promotion boards. I'm sitting on boards to select folks for things, you know. I'm helping mentor like the next group coming up, you know, and young officers that are majors and, you know, where I was, majors and captains. And the crazy part, Jake, is that I'm seeing all the things that I never saw I never got to see because I didn't have the links totally. I didn't have the exposure at that time.
Okay.
To check boxes and to develop folks. Now I'm helping them. But I'm like, how do you get to be an admiral? How do you get to be a general officer in the Air Force? Now I'm behind the curtain. I'm seeing all those development things like you supposed to take this course, that course. Somebody needs to go this, and this. They got to talk to this person, that person. And I'm looking at my performance report like, where's that at? I'm good, but where's that at?
So Rob, you hit the nail on the head. You done hit the nail on the head. And let me tell you something, brother. I am doing all this heavy lifting now because I was in the perfect job for my crazy convicted ass. And I left because I didn't have no mentorship, right? One conversation I got to do now that I talk to all the time, one conversation with him, one conversation with Admiral Winters, who was a cat commander at the time. Just one dude to tell me, hey man, listen, you understand you're the only black officer in the Navy for 11 years in your community. Your fit reps don't matter. You're going to make 06. I'd have been like, oh my God, I'm fixing to tear because I love the job, man. I love the job. It just, you know, but that's why, like I tell everybody, like the Naval, I'm on the blacklist of the Naval Academy. Shout out to the United States Naval Academy. You got me on the blacklist, but I got probably 500 graduates of your institution, and not one of them dudes been in no trouble because I raised everybody to do exactly the opposite of what I did. Right? It's the craziest thing, right? Like you're saying, right? Like I know, like, no, there's a chance off the 03 line. Okay. So the comeback line in 03, we had a line in 80 and we had a line in 81. at the Naval Academy. The comeback line of 03, there was a chance that we have 3 admirals out of 7 dudes.
That's awesome.
Bruh, I'm going to tell you right now, if you see 3 admirals come out that 03 line, you're going to see me on the cover of U.S. News and World Report. Because I'm about to go high broadcast on what we did.
Well, the crazy thing I'll say too, and this one thing I learned a lesson, but through all this stuff that you hear my path, right? I learned that to be uncomfortable, you're going to kind of succeed in the pathways that you're trying to get to. Sometimes you're going to have to learn to be uncomfortable in the position where you're at and to be able to perform in that. Because what ends up happening, like I said, and you have to be comfortable. I call it being comfortable, being uncomfortable. Because
we say it all the time, bro. We say it all the time.
Because at these levels, unfortunately, especially if you look like me, dog, I'm in the room, I'm the only 06. I'm the only black 06 in the room sometimes. I'm the only, you know.
Shit, most of the time you're the only medical officer in the room.
Correct.
Black or white.
Yeah. And so sometimes black, white, whatever you are, you may be the only, I'm the only 06 in the room that look like me or that has my background, right? And you got to be comfortable. I mean, I took the saying I used to have in the Marine Corps. I remember they tell me, like, you don't got to like these motherfuckers. I don't got to take long showers with your ass. There's a mission. We got to get the mission done. You got to learn to place yourself in uncomfortable positions and be comfortable in that with yourself and to know yourself and know what you can do and know what you're trying to do. And like I said, once I got that focus and I kind of got some of those obstacles out of the way and stopped missing opportunities, I was very comfortable being the only dude in the room. I'm like, okay, I'm the only guy in the room. You know, okay, it ain't about that. It's about I was the dude that had the knowledge. I was the qualified dude in the room, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't about what I looked like. It was about I was getting selected. I mean, people were working with me. People no one ever said, I don't think anyone ever said Frag did not know his stuff. I remember talking to one of my bosses, like, you were one of the most experienced guys out there. That's why I remember my first squadron selection. Dog, I gotta tell you this story. I'm going out for squadron command. I had to get a waiver because I was a lieutenant colonel, but I was eligible for colonel.
Okay.
I had a group commander. This is group commander of the Med group said, I talked to the wing commander. The wing commander owns the whole base. He said, we're not going to select. I'm afraid to select you. I said, why? I said, okay, sir, why? Can you tell me why? He said, because out of all the other candidates looking right now, you're the best one. You're the one we want. He said, but I'm afraid to select you because you're on the 06 list and you're going to get picked up. And I said, well, thank you for letting me know. That's why I haven't gotten some interviews I thought I was going to get. Fast forward around, they selected me. This is one for the base I went to. They selected me, said, I talked to the wing commander. Wing commander said, select him, we'll handle it. They selected me. Yep. I was going to be the squadron commander at that base. Made 06. That's when they walked in and said, congratulations, you're 06. And then they pulled me to the base I went to. So yeah, you do have to be comfortable. I had to learn to be comfortable being in uncomfortable places. And to not be afraid of being there.
Dog, tell me about it. Like, I will say it a different way, Rob. You had to be okay being afraid.
Yeah.
You're going to be scared sometimes, bro. Like, I tell people, I got to Naval Academy, man. I didn't know I was going to military college, bro. I didn't know. But I knew this. I couldn't go back to Steilacoom. I couldn't go home. I was terrified. I didn't have no other options, bro. It's okay to be scared. You still got to step into the breach, though, right?
And do the work.
Yeah. Okay.
And the other part is I learned, too, is that, despite all the degrees, all the ways, school and the bros, you had to learn. I learned in the Marine Corps, value people. Your people are the most important asset you have.
Yep.
And I also learned that it ain't about you. And so I like to think I am not braggadocious. So I'm a pretty humble dude. I'm a pretty cool dude. A lot of instances, folks like, you a cool officer. I'm like, because I've been there on the other side before too,
Hey, I'm from Northeast D.C, bro. There ain't but one flavor. Yeah. One flavor.
That's why my mom's baby, And I like to say, and so you have to learn to be comfortable around everybody and value everybody's opinion. I used to say, when I was an officer, I'd be like, my door's open. As a commander, my door's open. Come talk to me. Ain't no heads on no sticks into my door. You can come talk to me anytime you want to. I feel that if you get the time to come talk to me and you can walk into a 06 or 05 office or the boss's office, then it's my job to listen to what you got to say. Now, granted, that don't mean we're going to do it, but I will listen to what you got to say because I realized and I learned through all of this stuff and everything that happened to me that I ain't the smartest kid. I ain't the smartest tool in the book. I'm not the smartest cat in the room, nor do I have the answer to everything. And so to get the mission done, to succeed, the answer may be somebody else. It may be some dude you just ignoring, or maybe somebody else got the answer, right? So you need to listen to people.
Okay, so you get done with command time in Hawaii, pack flee, and then I take it probably one or two people, one person maybe every 3 years makes star. So
Even worse
you
in the
ain't gonna
medical
make.
side. In the
Okay.
medical side, to get a star, part of that, they were talking to me. My boss was saying, hey, you need to go do a medical group, right?
Okay.
Something of that. Or you can go do another, it's called MAGCOM. You can go to like Air Combat Command as the chief aerospace medicine, something like that. But you needed to do a group, and then you needed to do a combatant command slot as the Surgeon General. And then
Okay.
maybe another group, or, and then you could go get it. So the star stuff, I knew at that point, I had learned enough, and by working as a MAGCOM doctor at that high staff level, I had been mentoring enough folks. I'd been on the selection teams. I knew at that point I wasn't in the running for a star because I
Gotcha.
hadn't checked the boxes. I'd be strat number one. Because at that point, and that's where the mentorship comes on. I try to tell folks, and I try to also, when I was rating folks, like, look, man, what you trying to do? Because if you try to do this and this, you need to talk to this. You're doing it the whole wrong way. Don't do it the way I've learned how. I'm damn near Lieutenant Colonel figuring out, I should be stratted. I need to go to Air War College. I need to go I need to go to National Defense College and all this stuff. I didn't know that stuff. And people weren't necessarily trying to send me, so to speak, because, you got to be hooked into the right pipelines. And I knew
you got to have the right dude pulling on your strings. The dude that's helping you get up there got to be the right dude. Like you ain't making admiral unless the right dude's the 3-star.
Yeah, and then at that level, when you get to that level, I didn't see enough. I didn't see the pathway enough, so I could at that point identify who was on the path.
Yeah,
and I'm like, that dude don't like me. His assignments don't like my assignments. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But the key part, Jake, I was good with that. I was good.
I mean, dog, you did a lot of time, right? Like this journey started in '88. So like, where are we at right now? 2020,
2021.
Okay, so you decide at some point, okay, I got to hang up this grandiose career of insanity academics and being a medical doctor.
Well, what happened there was I asked for a job. My boss at the time did not advocate for that job, but my boss at the time didn't know me.
Okay.
My boss was not of my community.
Okay.
My boss was running agendas, I would say, in my own personal opinion.
Yep, absolutely.
And I wasn't part of that agenda. So I call it put in the parking lot, as we call it sometimes, the job I wanted to go do. So I wanted to go to Europe because I never got a chance to go to Europe. I wanted to go to Europe and do airback or something like that. This is going to be my last assignment probably because my wife was looking at me crazy because my wife retired in 2006, 2007. Okay. We had 2020, and she joined out of high school. So now we're at 2021. She's like, I didn't plan on being in the military 50 years, 40 years of my adult life.
Yeah.
She's like, when are we going to have a normal life? And that's the crazy part, because I used to tell people all the time, when you get to the end of this career, no matter what it is, make sure the people that was with you supporting you are still there at that ceremony and behind you. Because I seen many of cats get through it and look around, and the people that was there supporting you ain't there no more.
Dog, I tell everybody, man, if you want to get the dumbest prize in the world and retire with no family, dog, I come out of the community, bro. We got a whole bunch of people, kids disown them, parents, wives disown them. Shit, you going home to a lab and a bottle of Johnny Walker every night. Yeah. And then, that's why we got all these problems. They hitting 50. They realizing they got 30 years of their life yet, and they ain't got nobody with them. And
it's a choice. You just have to understand. And like I said, I talked before, I said self-awareness. You got to understand the choices you're making and what the result of that choice is. And somebody needs to tell you that. One of my chief residents, shout out to Chris Hanley. Chris told me that. He said, just remember when he said, when you take an assignment, who are you taking it for? And if you're taking it for yourself, the next one should be consideration of your family, if you got a family. And he told me that phrase. He said, just remember when you hang it up, if you hang it up and nobody is there that you came through with you to support you, your wife, family, kids, they not there with you, then what was it for? And if you could answer that question to yourself and be good with it, good. And I saw a lot of cats that took one more assignment, took one job, hey, come do this joint. We gonna make you an airman. We gonna give you this. And they didn't get it. And they was bitter. They was like, what the hell? And that's the military like assignments. Military, I tell every cat I talk to, because I did recruiting for medical officers. I talked to my son, everybody. I said, remember, it's the needs of the Air Force. It's the needs of the military. That's number one. When you sign your name on that paper, you have to be willing to take the needs of the military and also maybe your life. It ain't about what you want to do. They give you some considerations. And you can be lucky if you learn and you kind of, I've had some good assignments. Off it wasn't where I wanted to go, and you can, and it took me how many services, how many branches,
how many starts and not finishes.
right?
Right. But that's okay. Because, like, I mean,
25,
dude,
26 years. Well, more than that.
This redemption. All right. So let's say this. You get out the military as an 06, you retire.
Yep. So
what are you doing now?
I did retire. I told the board, I want these jobs. They said, okay. And they gave me something totally different or had me like in limbo. And I heard, and I put on the paperwork, or I can retire. And I heard that they were like, oh, he said he could retire. Well, everyone says that. No, dog, I can go. You know? And so I said, okay, I'm going to go. And so I retired out of the military in 2022 in August as a colonel. 2 commands under my belt, 4 deployments, you know, lovely career. You can see my shadow box back here. These are all the squadrons.
Yes, sir.
I'd have flown with every one of those squadrons.
Yes, sir.
I took care of them.
Yes, sir. Where did you, okay, so did you step, let me ask you this. It sounds like you got out the military kind of abruptly, like it happens.
Well, I planned it.
I planned it. Did you step into some cushy ass flight surgeon RAM job that I suppose they had lined up for you?
They have them, but I did. So again, Jake, I went left when everybody else went right. Okay. A lot of my peers, my compadres, my boys that I train with, that we all Rams and we know each other by name. We're my good friends. A lot of them still are with DOD in some form or fashion. After they retire, they go work as contract flight docs on bases, or they're at the schoolhouse, you know, or they're at, you know, DHA or doing stuff like that. And that's cool. But for me, there were 2 key things that I talked to a whole bunch of folks that were retiring ahead of me, or they were separated. And part of my job when I was at PACAF, as a chief flight doc, I got to see all the lists of who was leaving and why, somewhat, especially if they were under me. Because you got to try to talk to them back and stuff like that, try to retention recruiting. So I got to get a lot of information, a lot of snapshots from personal people of their reasons for leaving, so to speak. So therefore, it helped inform me of my decision when it's time for me to go. So I was like, yeah, I could have taken a job across the street at the clinic doing flight medicine in Hickam if I wanted to. They had the contract jobs there. Got paid a lot more and had to know how to deploy, you know? But there was a part of me was like, I've reached this level. I'm going to go be the civilian doc at the clinic at a kind of lower level. And I felt like if I'm going to do that, I might as well stay on active duty. Yeah. That's how I looked at it. I was like, I might as well stay on active duty. I'm doing the same thing, except I'm getting paid more. At the time, I looked at, did I want to continue that route? Did I want to stay in that route, right? And stay, in a way I was like stagnant, man. Let's go do something different. And I talked to folks that did something different. Some folks like, yeah, I had one dude who's like, I'm never coming back when he retired. I'm going to do something totally different. I know one dude who went to chef school. Okay. To be a chef down in San Antonio. He's down in San Antonio right now. Okay. And he went to chef school to be a chef. Went from a RAM flight surgeon, MPH, master's, smart, brainiac dude. He could be writing policy for the Air Force and for the DOD. He went to chef school for a year to learn how to be a world-class chef down in San Antonio.
So it's interesting. I got a dude that was a CO of Top Gun. Mm-hmm. Flew on F-18s for 30 years. Mm-hmm. I said, you going to go work for the airlines? He said, I don't think I can do it, Jake. Mm-hmm. He said, I'm going to figure out something. So he retired earlier this year, and it's like, okay. So it's everybody's path is different. So what are you doing now?
So what I did is basically...
Where are you living, first of all?
I'm living
Where you live?
outside of Atlanta, Georgia. And I talked to some cats, and they said, hey, we got some talents. You can come work for the government, and you're going to make less than you would make if you went off and did clinical medicine, open your own practice, or if you stayed doing, aerospace medicine for the military, working DOD. Yep. But in a way, it'll be rewarding. So I went ahead and I got offered a job. I work for the FAA. I'm a flight surgeon for the FAA. I'm doing the same thing, practicing aerospace medicine that the Air Force taught me. I make a little bit more than I did if the military paid me. Not as much as I can make in civilian world, not as much as I can make as a contract flight doc.
I don't know if you got your VA. We won't talk about that, but you got your retirement.
I got my retirement.
So it's like I'm double dipping. First of all, you're 56, so you ain't, it's like me, dog. I'm 53 years old. If it ain't my flavor, I ain't eating it.
Yeah. So, and what it did for me, and what it did is it allows me to kind of do what with the Air Force, I spent 20 years learning, right? And doing. It lets me do it in another capacity and keep that part of my brain going and feel that part of my heart a little bit and still give back service.
Yeah.
So I'm keeping, we're supposed to be keeping the airspace safe, keep planes from crashing and controllers from doing crazy stuff, and keep people safe. We keep the national airspace system safe and keep folks safe to fly. Delta, United, wherever they're gonna go. So, and that's part of the calling I found. You don't. I used to tell my docs, you don't stay past 20 years in the Air Force as a doc. You stay for a couple of reasons. I told them, you try and get a star, be a general officer. You trying to run a program. So you trying to be the guy that sets up a whole program, a whole schoolhouse, something like that. You trying to get a location. I know a cat, he's wanted to be in Italy. So he's going to stay as long as he could. He wanted to be in Italy. I said, those are really the three real big things. You trying to get a star, you trying to run a program, you trying to be in charge of something, or you got nowhere else to go. Like as in, you wouldn't make it in the outside world. That's the only reason why a lot of guys stay past 20. And a lot of guys, especially if you do USIS, that's the other tidbit. A lot of cats, they'll do USIS. That means basically, or Navy scholarship or Air Force scholarship. They don't pay for your school.
You got 13 years.
Yep.
And I mean, I got a dude, one of my good friends, man, Mike, shout out to Mike Santamoro. He's on the West Coast as a urologist. That dude made a transition over to Navy Med, did his 13 years. He's like, Jake, I got to get out because I'm losing money every day I stay in. And he got the, what's the spider called? The spider robotic surgery.
Spider robotic surgery, yeah.
Okay, so he went to Harvard and got a year residency in that and fellowship, and now he's out in San Diego just killing it,
I got a buddy that did Air Force Academy, USIS, Air Force Radiology. He retired after 20 years. He's single, no parent, no kids. He pulling in almost $600,000 a year right now.
Yeah, bro.
Life is lovely.
I'm telling you.
So yeah,
life is good.
It's good. So yeah, I mean, but I found out through that whole thing, I enjoyed serving. I enjoyed giving to something. That's what I tell my kids. I remember when I was in Korea. Here's the other crazy part. I'm in Korea. When I was in Korea, my boss, the one that put me in flight medicine, said, "So are you a scholarship student?" No. "Are you a USIS grad?" No. "Are you academy?" I said, "No." He said, "How did you get here?" I said, "I went to med school." He said, "Who paid for it?" I said, "Me, I'm paying for it." He said, "Are you out of your mind?" I said, "No, I'm having fun. I'm enjoying it. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do finally. So I'm good." And when it becomes not fun, that's when I know it's time to leave.
So I'm going to tell you this, Rob. You done inspired me today, okay? I'm mad as a motherfucking rat in a pot of hot water, okay? I'm mad, all right? But as soon as I get off this call, I'm going to have to call my kid that left the Naval Academy and have a conversation with him. Because if your ass can get to where you got to, then I can't be mad that he left where he was because I can't tell you where he's going. And so if he was mine before he left, I got to take him after he left.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give him a call. He should be home by now. He quit on Tuesday, so he should be back in Washington. I'm gonna give him a call. Man, listen here, bro. I knew this one was gonna be a banger. I appreciate you. Thank you for your service.
No
Thank you, 90 Kai D, for not trying to fight me on here. I know y'all get a little rowdy over there.
Just bring some chicken and brew, bro. We good.
I know. Hey, man, I just appreciate you.
It's about
uplift,
everybody. Dog. It's about uplift.
100%. That's what we do. We lifting as we climbing.
For your viewers, like I said, I'm helping everybody. I help people that I can. I just had a cat down at basic that was about to get kicked out. He wasn't my cat, but he was one of my coworkers' daughter's boyfriends, about to get sent home from basic because they said you had an eye injury or an eye problem they found. He reached out to me and said, "What's going on?" I said, tell me what's going on. What they say. He said, told me what they said. I said, let me make a phone call. I called the standards guys and said, "Hey, what's up with this?" They re-examined that kid, reclassified him, kept him in the Air Force, and now he's doing intel. And that's what it's about.
Rob, let me
make pathways.
Let me write your name down right now because we lost a kid in naval aviation for perceived forecast of glaucoma. And when we sent him to 5 different doctors, they all said they're batshit crazy. And he's in flight school in the Army right now. He's flying in the Army.
Yeah, I mean,
but
that's what I do. I help cats answer especially the medical questions, because that's the biggest thing. MEPS. Can I get in with this? Can I get in with that? There's a lot of misinformation out there. And as like I said, remember I had that Naval Flight Officer job selection. Now, if I'd have known what I know now, I know how to waiver the damn condition. Because I'm a flight. So that's what the flight docs do. That's part of my job is medical standards.
Yeah.
The DODIs, everything the MEPS doctor says you can't go for, it goes up to somebody. And at least in the Air Force, the cats is deciding that. All the cats that I know, I served with, I trained, And guess what? I'm trained to do that, you know? So
Let's
I help folks
go.
all the time. Like, yo, you got medical
Let's
questions? Some
go.
guys come to me like, hey, what about this? I'm like, you need a waiver, you need this, this, and this they're gonna look at. If that's okay, you good. If that's not okay, you know, then they change the standards. But yeah. And I do the same thing now for
Yeah.
the FAA. I do medical standards for pilots and stuff. So it's all good.
Well, shit, dog. I'm about to put you on the list, bro.
Woo.
Now I'm gonna put you on the list, man. I appreciate your 2 hours.
It's Friday,
Man,
it's
you
no
need
problem.
anything? Yeah, if you need anything, reach out. You know what I'm saying? Like we printing a ton of shit right now, bro. I tell everybody, we making so many cats. Now that I got the Discord up and running,
And I'm on that.
it's feeding itself, bro. Like the medical school, we got the Dean of Alabama Orthopathic Medical School, Dean of Admissions is one of my guys. He's a fire breathing dragon helping us out. You know, I'll probably put you in contact with him. He's a great dude. You know, shit, bro. I just appreciate the time, man. I appreciate your service and fucking got to get this message out there, man. If you guys have been knocked down in life before, if Rob ain't motivate you to get up and get going and get some direction, man, my man messed up the first 4 years as hard as you possibly could mess it up, short of going to prison.
No prison time, dog. No prison time.
No, that's what I'm saying, though. Like you know, short of getting in trouble with the law, like you pretty much did it all.
Yeah.
You know,
well, I had no kids. Here. I had no kids. That's the other thing, guys. You messed around.
Okay, ain't have no kids. You know, ain't have no kids. Ain't go to prison. Yeah. You know, so to all you guys out there struggling, man, understand this. It's August 1st today. If Rob can do it and Aaron Garcia can be flying C-17s in the Air Force right now, anybody can get up there and get it done, man. Anybody.